Yo, y'all can hear me? I think they could definitely hear me. Yo. Yes, sir. They can hear me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, gang? What's up? Pick a side, gang.
Okay, so we're gonna do the audio all over again.
Ah, damn. So we got to hear you talk all over again?
You, not them, because they didn't even hear me. So okay, I think we got the audio working. So we're just gonna do the intro back. So Riv, just press the record button in the yellow pad. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joe Moran and I'm here with Riv. This is now episode 48. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the ESPN Top 100 list, the worst and best parts of the list. Then we're going to talk about Zach Lavine and give our pick for which second-year player will have a breakout year. Then we're going to transition to the Kyrie Irving media dilemma. And then we're going to be answering the question of if LeBron really did win the two hardest championships in NBA history. Then to finish off the show, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook, the Timberwolves, Lamelo Ball, Killian Hayes, and Cade Cunningham. So, and if you guys are watching now, you can probably see that Jack is not with us today. That's because I believe his mom tested positive for COVID. So we're praying that she's feeling better. And now Jack has to be on a 14-day quarantine. He's in the chat right now. So if you guys could put some praying hand emojis for Jack, and hopefully he feels better after his quarantine period is done. But yeah, I mean, I know this episode we're going to be debating a lot, you and I, Riv, because you feel differently about this LeBron thing. I don't know why. You have some sort of hate and animosity towards LeBron.
I'm a Bulls fan, you know? We hate him.
I don't think Bulls fans hate him.
I hate him because he always beats us. Not I hate LeBron, the competitor. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. Let's start it off with something. A list I really hate every year.
Okay, so as you guys all know, the ESPN Top 100 list recently came out. And before we get into the list per se, one, just it's a horrible list.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the top 10, probably it's a horrible list.
I mean, the top
1
10,
and 2 was LeBron and AD. Like I said it here on the podcast.
Yeah, but you're contradicting yourself because you're saying it's a horrible list.
No, I said outside of the top 10.
No, I feel like the top 10. I mean, the top 10, they had the top 10 people, right? And I feel like the orders, you can mix and match with anybody. You had LeBron and AD top 2, so that list would help you in the favor. I feel a little differently about the list, but outside of the top 10, the list is just horrible. Like, it's Zion's too high. I feel like Lonzo Ball was too high. Zach Lavine was too low.
Yeah, before we talk about the list, I was trying to look at the list, and I couldn't because you need ESPN Plus.
I did have one. You should have asked me before.
And this is the first thing I think that ESPN is doing wrong, is that they're making people pay to read some of their articles.
Yeah.
And I think if you want people to pay for your stuff, you actually have to have good stuff, because it's obvious to everybody that you're just clickbaity and you just want people to have a reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, people are talking about the list, but I saw the list from somebody that was tweeting it, and somebody tweeted it and said, for you guys that don't have ESPN Plus, here's a list. That's how I got the list. And I guarantee a lot of people are doing that because nobody is paying for something that they feel is not great content.
Yeah.
And that's where I think ESPN is going wrong. You shouldn't really have to pay to read some articles, to be honest, especially a list.
A bad one at that.
So, okay, we're going to get started and we're going to talk about the list. This is my first problem I have with the list.
You have the list in front of you?
I have the list in front of me. The first problem I have with the list is that LaMarcus Aldridge is ranked 95th. When I saw LaMarcus Aldridge ranked 95th, I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is going to be bad. He averaged 19 and 7, shot 49% from the field, 38% from three. Seth Curry, Patrick Beverley, Joe Ingles, KCP, Robert Covington are all ahead of him. And you know I love PJ Tucker.
He wasn't on the list.
PJ Tucker was ahead of LaMarcus Aldridge on the list.
What number?
I know PJ Tucker was ahead of Seth Curry, Beverly Ingles, and KCP.
Seth Curry was ahead of DeMar DeRozan.
Seth Curry, yeah. And this is what I'm saying. PJ Tucker was 72nd on the list.
Mhm.
As much as I love PJ Tucker, this list is supposed to be who's going to be top 100 in this upcoming season, right? PJ Tucker's 36. So you can't bank on him making a big stride. So how is he over not only LaMarcus, but he's over DeMar DeRozan? It's pretty idiotic.
I would think you would be a little happy that PJ Tucker is at 76 because you're a PJ Tucker fan. I don't think there's 95 players in the league better than LaMarcus Aldridge. That's just my opinion. I think you can probably sneak him in there in the 70s. I feel like he's very underrated just because he plays for San Antonio, and San Antonio plays a different brand of basketball. I don't think there's 70 players better than DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan is, even though he doesn't put up the 27, 28 he puts in Toronto, he is still a top 40, top 50, maybe even top 30 player in the NBA. So for him to be lower than Seth Curry and people like Lonzo Ball, I didn't quite understand that. My biggest problem was Zion.
Your biggest problem was Zion?
Yeah, I feel like Zion was way too high. That was extreme number. I think he was at like 19.
He's over Paul George,
Jamal
Murray, Bradley Beal, Karl Anthony Towns, Kyrie, Gobert, McCollum, and Westbrook.
Now,
this is what I'm gonna be honest. I'm fine with him being over Gobert. I'm fine with him being over CJ.
Okay.
I'm fine with him being over Westbrook to an extent. PG and Murray, I'm fine with, and Brad Beal. I'm not fine with Cat and Kyrie because this list was based off the assumption of how good will they be this upcoming season. So they're guessing. So they're guessing that Zion will be better than all these players. And based off how in the 24 games that he played, where he averaged 24, if he even improves off of that this upcoming season,
right,
Zion could be a top 20 player. So I'm not too mad at that.
I think if what I was, because I guess what I thought they were basing the list off of is after last year.
No, they're basing the list off of like who's going to be top 100 after the 2020-21 season.
Okay, so if they're doing it off that, I guess that makes sense because they're going off the small sample size of the games he played. So it would make sense. He's projected to do that well. But even still, to say he would be higher than Bradley Beal, who's probably going to put up around the same numbers as he did last year, that's a little stretch. I mean, the list is weird because then if that's the case, you're saying Seth Curry is going to be better than DeMar DeRozan, and then you're going to say Lonzo Ball is going to be better than Zach Lavine. I don't see Lonzo Ball. I don't see any projection of Lonzo Ball being great next year, especially now that they have Eric Bledsoe. So I don't see how that makes sense. I think Zach Lavine's probably going to put up, and this is not me being a Bulls fan, I think he's just probably going to put up the same numbers he put up last year, around 24, 4-4. He's probably going to do the same thing. And I don't see Seth Curry putting up any better numbers than what he put up last year compared to DeMar DeRozan's 20, 22 that he's going to put up next year. So if that's what they're doing, the list doesn't make sense.
For the Zion ranking, I'm not too mad at. But this is where I'm kind of pissed off of the ranking. Like when you have Russell Westbrook, he was 36 on the list, a former MVP. Kyle Lowry's ahead of Westbrook. In this stage of their career, I think Westbrook is better.
I agree.
I think Westbrook is better. And I think he's always been better, honestly. And then they have CJ McCollum ranked over Russell Westbrook.
He would never be better than Westbrook.
CJ McCollum is a second fiddle guy. Even like he's McCollum. I think Zach Lavine's better than CJ McCollum.
It's debatable. They're like right there with each other.
And that's the thing is that I'll just talk about the list. So we'll just go into, I'll just name it from like 100 to like 80. Joe Harris, this is 100 down.
Okay. Joe
Harris, Marcus Morris, Otto Porter, Derek White, Marc Gasol.
Stop. Otto Porter is not a top 100 player.
LaMarcus Aldridge, Jared Allen,
okay,
Ricky Rubio, Mitchell Robinson, Seth Curry, Pat Bev, Joe Ingles, Jeremy Grant, Buddy Hield, Brooke Lopez, Gallinari, John Collins, DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan, John Wall, Josh Richardson, Dennis Schroeder, Aaron Gordon, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, Duncan Robinson, Miles Turner, Bojan Bogdanovic, PJ Tucker, Mike Conley, Steven Adams, D'Angelo Russell, OG Anunoby, Eric Bledsoe, Serge Ibaka, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, and we could just go on. But
so they think Wow.
So they think that many players are like just starting at DeMar DeRozan. They think KCP is better. Montrezl Harrell, Duncan Robinson, Bogdanovich, Mike Conley, PJ Tucker.
No, they definitely did this to get reactions.
I think this is a really bad list. I really do.
No, this is horrible. They had wow. They think that many people are going to be better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and they have Tyler Hero pretty high too. I know they have Tyler Hero. They have Tyler Hero at 59th. Tyler Hero's 59th.
Wow.
Which I'm guessing they're thinking he's going to make like a jump to like 20 points per game.
And they had PJ Tucker over Bogdanovich.
Yeah. But it's just my biggest problem with the list is that I think this was just done to kind of generate clicks. And I mean, this has been going on for a couple years now. I know because I stopped keeping up with these top 100 lists. I never paid mind to it. The only reason I looked at it today was because we had a segment about it. I looked at it today and yesterday. That's the only reason I looked at it. But I remember the year where Melo was ranked outside the top 10 when
I
he
think
was
Kobe one year was ranked like in the 30s or something like that. But I want to ask a question because obviously outside the top 10 it's horrible. But the top 10, we can agree they have the right people in there. Would you fix any ranking in the top 10 if you had to?
I actually don't even have the top 10 in front of me.
You need to be on go for stuff like this. I just seen it too.
Let me search it up on Twitter because they're probably gonna have it. Let's see where the top 10 because I have the top 11 to 20. Let me see.
I know. I just seen it too. Let me see if I can find it too.
Okay, these are the top 10.
You got it.
Yeah. Nikola Jokic is at 10. James Harden is at 9. Curry's at 8. Dame is at 7. KD's at 6. Kawhi's at 5. Luka's at 4. Giannis is at 3. AD 2 and LeBron 1.
So would you change anything in that list based off if they're saying who's going to have the better season?
I mean, I think Harden is over Dame.
Yeah, I think Harden's too low.
I think KD is because I do think Luka could be a top 5 player this year. And I think Kawhi's top 5 too. Giannis have another dominant season.
I think Harden is extremely too low though. He's going to dominate the regular season like he always does. Steph
is over Harden. I'm not mad at that. But I'd put Steph over Dame and I'd put Harden over Dame. And I'd have Dame 9th best.
Me too.
That's it. But outside of it, I think the list is okay. I think that top 10 list is not bad.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was confused about. I feel like Dame should have been at 9. And I guess KD, you could have flipped him with Harden because we haven't seen KD play. So KD and Steph, I would have put them behind Harden. I would have put Harden at 6. That's where I would have had him because I feel like Harden's going to dominate the regular season. That's just going to happen. Jason
Tatum's at 11. So he's just like outside that top 10.
Okay.
So they're counting on him to make an elite jump into like superstardom. I mean, he had that stretch last year.
Yeah.
But I don't know because they're probably thinking that James Harden has that dilemma. He's probably not going to go as hard in the regular season until he gets traded.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with him. So I could understand why. But I think every year this top 100 list, outside of like the top 10 probably, is a really bad list. And especially if you want people to pay for ESPN Plus subscription, like you just have to have great content. And right now, ESPN, it just feels like they're just trying to be really clickbaity. Yeah. I know I watched the video on YouTube by this guy named Company Man. Company Man is a great channel. He talks about like all companies, the rise and fall, like why they're successful. And ESPN is really struggling right now.
Really?
Yeah, like they're a really struggling company. And it's probably because the thing is like this. I mean, they're so desperate that Stephen A. Smith, he deserves it, but I think he's getting his own studio show.
Yeah.
That's exclusive.
This is like his 3rd one, right?
Yeah, it's exclusively on ESPN Plus. So you have to have that subscription to watch that show.
People are going to tune in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They needed something like that because
they need him.
They need him. He's the face of ESPN, so they need him to boost their stuff. But I mean, I love ESPN, so hopefully they get it together, but they're really struggling right now.
I mean, I only have ESPN to watch like certain college games that don't come on TV. That's really what I use it
That's
for.
The only thing that's really keeping them alive is that watching the games, because everything else they do, like back in the day, what got them so famous was the highlights.
Right.
But we just watch that on YouTube now, so there's no point.
YouTube or Twitter.
So now they need these like analyst shows And even that, people see it on, like, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, like, people see stuff like that where people talk about sports on YouTube. So really what they're for is just like showing the games, because that's where everybody
people
goes
have
to.
all these podcasts coming out. NBA players starting their own podcast. So ESPN is becoming irrelevant if it's not about like a game we want to watch.
If we're being honest, like the only show on ESPN that's still relevant is pretty much like First Take. I think I would say like First Take, Get Up, NFL Live.
Yeah.
Like those are the only shows.
But those are for like, I don't think young people watch those shows. Like Get Up, I don't think young people watch Get Up. I think people only watch First Take because of Stephen A. People don't really tune too much into it. People used to watch the Kobe show he had on ESPN.
Detail.
Yeah. But then, he died. So
I mean, Peyton Manning had
he's trying.
He had the detail too. I mean, ESPN is trying, but it's just really hard because the market is getting really oversaturated. But now the next topic we're going to talk about is Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine made a showing in the ESPN Top 100 list, and he was ranked 56 in a list. And as a Bulls fan, I just want to get your perspective on it, because I know you're a Bulls fan. I'm not sure how much of a fan you are of Zach Lavine, but these are the guys that are ranked ahead of Lavine: Lonzo, Sabonis, Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Victor Oladipo, Fred VanVleet, Marcus Smart, Kyle Lowry.
That's literally all I need to hear.
CJ McCollum, Christian Wood, and Gordon Hayward.
Let me start with the Nets, because I heard 2 Nets players on that team. And I'm a Bulls fan, yes. I like Zach Lavine. I think Zach Lavine is a good player. I think he can be the third best player in the championship team. I like him as our star for right now. He's better than everybody on the Nets not named Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I think that. I hope other smart people think that. I think he's better than Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he's better than Karis LeVert. He's better than Marcus Morris. I don't even know how Marcus Morris was ranked that high.
It was Marcus Smart.
Oh, Marcus Smart. If they're weighing defense that highly, I can see it. But I just think I think Zach Lavine is the top 40 player in the NBA. I think his numbers show it. I think even with a bad coach, you've seen he can still dominate a game. He's also pretty clutch. I think he can shoot the ball at a high clip. He can be a number 1 or 2 scorer on a team, on a playoff team. He's improved his playmaking, his defense. He's starting to show more effort. So I think if you watch, I know it's hard to watch Bulls games because we suck, but if you watch Zach Lavine play, you can see the improvement in his game, and you could definitely see that. I mean, they had CJ ranked where?
I don't know where he was ranked, but he was ranked ahead of him.
Yes, and I feel like CJ and Zach. I think Zach is better than CJ right now. I think CJ just gets a lot of love because he's Dame's sidekick, but I think Zach right now is better than CJ, and I think the disrespect is just because we aren't winning. Honestly,
Zach Lavine, each year he's been in the NBA, he's gotten better. He's averaged 20 points per game the last 2 seasons. He averaged 25 this year. I mean, this past season, which is the most since Michael Jordan was there. And I'm not trying to compare him at all, but I'm just saying, like, Zach Lavine's doing some pretty good stuff. Because the Bulls aren't on national television, nobody sees them.
Yeah, we suck.
Nobody knows how good he is. And he's a guy, like you said, he can shoot the ball. He's very good coming off the screens. He can cut to the basket. He knows when to cut. He's great. He's a great ball handler. He's great at driving to the basket. He's a pretty good playmaker. Like, I think people really sleep on how good Zach Lavine is, because he's kind of gotten this title over his head that he's just a dunker, because that's what people originally known him for.
That's why he stopped going in the dunk contest.
People think he's just a dunker, but there's so much to his game. Yes, he has that explosiveness, but there's so much to his game. And the problem in Chicago has always been the coaching. You had Jim Boylan this past season. Then you had Fred Hoiberg the past couple of seasons. Now, hopefully, Billy Donovan can bring a spark into Chicago and be a good coach. But, who knows? Because I don't think people were that much of a fan of Billy Donovan when it was that KD and Westbrook duo. And then this past season with Chris Paul, he was more of the on-court coach. So you're not like Billy Donovan was never tasked to be with a young team and develop players that need developing.
I think the coaching was spot on. I feel like the front office needs some blame too. The drafting has been terrible. We have We haven't drafted. Kobe White has been our best draftee. We drafted Chandler Hutchinson. He's terrible. We drafted Denzel Valentine. You know what he is. I don't need to explain to you what he is. We drafted guys like Christian Felicio. You probably don't even know who that is.
I do.
Oh, he's not good. So our front office definitely needs some play for this. They're terrible. But Zach Lavine, what people forget, he's also still really young. He's still a young player. I think he's like 25. So he's younger than CJ. He's younger than Bradley Beal. So he has time to really grow and improve as a player. And I think when you look at it, he can do, from a scoring mentality, he can do everything. He doesn't really have a weakness in his game. He can come off, like you said, he could come off the screen. He could shoot that. He can shoot from deep. He's a clutch player. He can dribble. He can get to the rack. He can finish. He can do everything. He can shoot free throws. So he has no real weakness. I think on offense, I think the defense has to be better. He has to learn how to become a better leader for our team. So now we just have to see with Billy Donovan, can he be that guy? Because we got some young guys, Zach, Kobe White, Laurie. So we got some guys. I still think, though, with that list, it's clear they don't watch players that aren't on national television.
Last year, Lavine was 55th on the list. So he's a ranking below this year, even when he had a better season than last year. I actually managed to read the reason why, because in every ranking, they don't just have the list. They have like the reason why.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And the reason why Zach Lavine was ranked at 56 is because he hasn't made the playoffs. That's it. The only reason, pretty much the only reason why he wasn't ranked higher is because he hasn't made the playoffs.
Where was Devin Booker ranked?
But the same can be said for Lonzo. The same can be said for Christian Wood. Like, these guys haven't made the playoffs, and as the main guy, none of these guys have made the playoffs on the team. Maybe outside of Kyle Lowry or Gordon Hayward, you can say they have. But as the main guy, Sabonis has never done it, or you could say he did it with Indiana. But I think Indiana is more of like a well-rounded team. Dinwiddie was never the main guy.
He's a backup point guard. Karras, not the main guy. Karras plays 30 games a year.
Oladipo, Van Vliet, Smart.
Okay, you could say Oladipo, but coming off
of this past season,
he was terrible.
I don't think anybody's projecting Oladipo to go back to his all-star status that he once was at.
ESPN is.
Yeah, obviously. But Billy Donovan, I don't know. He has to find a way, because I think this team is talented now. I know Jack picked Lauri Markkanen to win Most Improved Player.
That's a good pick.
Patrick Williams is there now, brings defense, which you guys need. Porter Jr. is not bad. You guys are a 500 team when he's on the court.
Yeah, we actually are.
So
we're a solid team when our starting five plays together. That's the craziest thing. They don't play enough together.
But yeah, if the reason for ranking him that low is because he hasn't made the playoffs, I just don't think that's a valid reason. It just doesn't hold up.
It doesn't make sense, because where would Devin Booker be ranked then? He's never made the playoffs. With guys like Christian Wood, like you said, was never a number one option. And then if that's the case, if that's what
but even if for the Devin Booker thing, I think people are because this is off projections. So with Chris Paul and Ayton, they're projecting them to make it. I'm guessing. So
yeah, we can only guess at this point. I mean, I would love to hear what would be. Oh, you should have read PJ Tucker's reasoning. I wanted to know that one. Damn, I'm gonna read it later.
PJ Tucker was 72nd.
Yeah, I'm gonna read that one later. They have it for every 100 player.
They have it for everyone on ESPN Plus, obviously.
I'm gonna read that.
So Zach Lavine had a pretty great season last year. I know people were talking about him getting snubbed from the All-Star game last year. And we're talking about breakout players now that were rookies. So which rookie do you think will have a breakout sophomore season? I kind of have an idea of who you're going to pick. You
swear I'm going to...
Because I always just think that you're going to go with Ja.
Oh, no, that's too easy. I mean, the two guys who I want to have a breakout season are Ja and Cam. Those are my favorites. But who I think is going to have a breakout season, I'm going to say Kobe White. I'm going to go a little fan bias here, and I'm going to say Kobe White.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just for the simple fact that last year he was coming off the bench. He was a bit of our I want to say our Dennis Schroeder guy, come off the bench, give us that little spark. This year he's going to start. We got a new coach. Last year's coach, everybody knows he was the worst coach in the NBA. His system was horrible. Now we got Billy Donovan, who, even though Chris Paul was an on-court coach, we seen him play a 3-guard system, which was one of the clutchest systems in the league. down the stretch with Chris Paul, Dennis, and Shah. So we see he's good with guards based off last year. So Kobe White, I feel like is gonna get more touches this year. We're gonna start to see that scoring mentality from him this year, and we're gonna start to see him more evolved in his game. So I'm gonna go with Kobe White here. Oh, and of course, my bias pick is Cam Reddish, but I'm gonna go Kobe White.
This was hard for me to come up with just one player that I think is going to have a breakout sophomore season. The obvious pick for me would be Zion. Even though he had great numbers his rookie year, I think that this year he'll be healthy, he'll be consistent, and people will recognize him much more because he's going to be actually playing throughout the year and dominating the league as well. Because I see him making an all-star game this year.
I could see it. If he plays enough, I could see it.
But I got two guys, so this is a little chin. My one guy is RJ Barrett, of course.
Oh my!
RJ Barrett averaged 14, 5, and 2 on pretty bad efficiency. But what I love about RJ is that after the All-Star break, he averaged 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 45% from the field and 33% from 3. So he improved in every aspect after the All-Star break, after he got his feet under feet a little wet in the league. And now
I think I know who your second guy is going to be. I think
we'll get to it, but I think RJ is extremely motivated. He didn't make the rookie team, and everybody's been disrespecting RJ. I was reading an article on SB Nation, and they were ranking the top 20 rookies, and RJ came in at 17. And the players that were above him in order were DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Porter Jr., Eric Pascal, Rui, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Matisse Thybulle, Kobe White, and PJ Washington. And I think RJ is looking at that. They even asked him at the media day, I think after media day, I believe it was after training camp practice. They asked him, how'd you feel about not making the rookie team? And he said he was pissed off about it. Like, he was mad. And I like that he admitted that. So I'm thinking RJ is going to have a good season because he's going to be the main guy. Tom Thibodeau, I like him as a coach. And he said the main two guys that have come in great condition to training camp have been RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin. Our two young guys.
The hardest workers on the team.
They have been excellent in training camp. So I actually have RJ Barrett having a breakout sophomore year. My second guy.
I think I know. Let me see.
My second guy is Tyler Hero.
Oh, I thought you was going to say PJ Washington.
Nah, my second guy is Tyler Hero. I think he averaged 13 last year. He was efficient. But now this year, I don't know if Duncan's going to start over him or not. But if he doesn't start, I think Tyler can emerge into that 20-point per game scorer. In the playoffs, he averaged 16 throughout the playoffs. All of his numbers went up. And now I'm thinking this year, he has all the confidence in the world. And everybody believes in him to take that next step. After you showed out in the finals, you had great performances. I think going into the season, he can average 20 points per game because outside of Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat are really well-rounded when it comes to scoring. And Tyler, feeling more confident, is going to take more shots. So I could see him making a big jump.
Damn. I mean, I like the Tyler pick. RJ Barrett, the thing about RJ Barrett is, and I think this is it was known since Montverde. He's always going to be one of the hardest workers on the team. That was always one of his niches. But the thing, like, his game, it's really weird. Like, he has to develop. It's like he has to develop a few skills again. He has to learn a couple of dribble moves. He has to get a jump shot. Jump shot is really broke, but he is a hard worker.
I don't think it's that broke.
I think it's broke. I mean, he's a hard worker, and I think he's gonna work hard. I mean, at Duke, I don't know. He put up big numbers, but I always used to see like him, Zion, and Cam. I always used to think like he's a hard worker, but he wasn't gonna be the guy. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough to see because there's gonna be a lot of attention on him this year. Definitely gonna be one of the leading scorers on the Knicks. But Cam Reddish, man, I'm telling you,
Atlanta has so many guys for me. They have Bogdanovich, Trey, Gallinari, Collins.
I would say this: if Cam does start, I feel like we're gonna see a lot more because, like you said, like after the All-Star break, Cam he was one of those guys that got his feet wet and he started to feel it more coming off the bench. So I feel like if he does start this year, he's gonna be the more efficient player, and the defense is already there. The defense is there. He's easily the best defender in his class. Easily the best defender. I'm not too high on DeAndre Hunter. I don't know what everybody else sees. I still think he's raw, and that's weird to say for a 23-year-old guy, but he's still raw in the sense of like he doesn't. There's a lot of skills he's missing. Jackson Hayes, I don't know what they see in that, but I do think Tyler Herro is going to have a breakout year. I don't know how they're going to start even if they start him or Duncan or if they start both of them.
I mean, if anything, if
because they don't have Jay Crowder no more.
Yeah, if Tyler Herro comes off the bench, I could see him winning 6th man of the year.
Yeah, I could see it too. I think they would start both of them though and put Jimmy at the 4.
I don't see that. I don't see Jimmy at the 4 because Goran Dragic is still there, so he's starting.
No, I know he's starting.
So it's really
1.
between if Duncan's gonna sit on the bench or not.
So who would start at the 4 though?
Probably.
I don't think they're gonna run 2 bigs.
Maybe Precious Achiuwa. He could start at the 4. I don't think he will.
He is a 4 technically.
Yeah, he's a rookie, so I don't know. Maybe they could go extremely small and start Jimmy at the 4.
Because they don't have Derrick Jones Jr. anymore either.
Yeah, and they don't have Jay, so probably. But I just think for me, it's between RJ and Tyler Herro. I think RJ has a chip on his shoulder.
He does. He should.
And I think the Knicks are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, regardless. But I think RJ is going to be one of those few bright spots on the team.
I was excited. I told you I was excited for the Tom Thibodeau thing for RJ Barrett because he has the defensive intensity and he plays defense. So I feel like Tom Thibodeau is going to get him real right because he's a hard worker. Tom Thibodeau's a hard worker. And RJ Barrett kind of gives me that Jimmy Butler hard work. You know, he's going to come into the gym. He's the first one there. He's the last one to leave. He has that tenacity. So I like RJ and Tom Thibodeau fit. I think that's going to be good for you guys in the long run. But the thing is, you guys have to draft guys like that from now until, you know, Tom Thibodeau eventually goes.
One other thing I want to mention is that RJ Barrett, if he can get his free throws right and shoot efficient from there, because I think he was shooting like 60-something%. If he could shoot like maybe in the high 70s,
yeah,
he'll average 20 points per game.
Anything up, just make a jump. 70s, and then you work on the 80s next year, and then you keep going. 70s, he needs to. I think he can if he get a little mid range in him, you know. At least shoot. What does he shoot? Like 30% from 3?
32.
Yeah, just get to 35. You know, just get to an average amount, and I think he can put up 20 a game.
I do too. Now, next topic, we're going to talk about a proven player in James Harden.
Oh boy.
So James Harden, he hasn't shown up to training camp yet. He actually just reported, but he has to sit out until I think he has
6 days straight.
Yeah, 5 or 6 negative consecutive tests. So to make sure he doesn't have COVID. So they're being extra cautious with this, which I respect. They should be. And I think in this whole situation, James Harden looks really bad because not only does he look bad because he didn't show up to training camp on time, which that's his job, but I think he looks bad because he was caught on camera. he was caught on camera partying with Lil Baby, and I know that's his friend and they're homies and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think it shows irresponsibility on James Harden's part. I think so. It shows irresponsibility. We're in a pandemic. We're in a global pandemic, and you're going out partying when you know you're playing in a league where you guys have to be extra cautious about who you surround yourself with. Texas has over 1 million cases and 20,000 deaths. So you're being irresponsible going out to a party, and because you were outside, they have to be extra cautious with you. The team does, so you don't spread COVID to your teammates. So now you have to sit out. He's going to miss this week of training camp, and the preseason is coming up. The regular season is coming up. You only have about a week to prepare now. You just added John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins. Harden wanted John Wall. He preferred John Wall over Russell Westbrook. So you got him. They come, and now you're not ready to get it going for you guys to build some rapport and some chemistry. I think this was it just showed a lot of irresponsibility and a lack of compassion for your teammates and your new coach who has to deal with all these questions about you now.
I want to say this for starters. I noticed the continuity the Rockets are building without James Harden. I noticed John Wall, Boogie, they're all getting right for training camp, so shout out to them. Boogie looks a lot thinner too. Looks like he's in basketball shape. He looks good. For James Harden, I think this just shows he doesn't want to be here. I think this obviously, like, the front office should look this as a sign, like, yo, get him out of here. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't seem to care. It shows lack of loyalty, lack of commitment to this organization. He clearly has given up on this organization. He doesn't want to be here no more. His preferred spots are now, I think, the Nets. Miami has become a
The
prime
Bucks,
in
the
the
Nets,
Bucks. Yeah,
Philly.
I think Miami has become a number one destination. The Nets are talking about they won't trade. No, Houston's talking about if it's not Kyrie or KD, we don't want to trade. So I would trade Harden for Kyrie.
I would trade Kyrie for Harden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I would in a heartbeat.
And if you do that, I don't even think you need to give up that many picks.
You don't. You give up Kyrie straight up like 3-4 picks.
Oh no, I think you give up like 1 or 2 most.
I mean,
if you're going in Kyrie,
Houston's gonna milk it. So, but I think to give up Kyrie, okay, Kyrie and 2 picks, whatever. It's Kyrie. Like, come on, like. But
I wouldn't say it's just Kyrie, but
no,
Harden makes them better.
Yeah, Harden's it's literally 2 tiers. It's a superstar and an all-star. So, in my opinion, I think so. Kyrie top 15 player, Harden's borderline top 5. So you make the switch regardless of anything. But yeah, this shows, in my opinion, he doesn't want to be here anymore. So I think Houston's best bet is to trade him. Like, trade him now before the season so you can get guys in there so you can still see if you're a playoff team, you know? See if you can still make a run. I think getting Kyrie would be dumb, though, because they have John Wall now. So I think Philly would, or Milwaukee, maybe. I don't know what Milwaukee would give up. But I think
Milwaukee can't. They gave up all their picks.
Yeah, so they don't. I think Miami or Philly would probably be the best destinations at this point right now. And I think you should make that. You should start making those calls to get him out of there, because he obviously seems like little baby's party is more important than training camp with the guys and being safe. So he's clearly not committed to this organization.
You talk about commitment, and I think he's not only committed to the Rockets, but I think this shows that he's not committed to winning.
Oh.
It shows you're not committed to winning. You come off a loss against LeBron and the Lakers, and instead of being in the gym and trying to get everything right and trying to make a championship run, you look like you don't care. Regardless of where you're at, I know he doesn't want to be in Houston, but you still have to take it as though you're trying to go compete for a championship. Because this roster, even though I would say there are Westbrook left, and so did Covington. But I think this roster, it's about the same as last year's, or a little bit slightly better. It definitely has a higher ceiling than last year's roster. And you don't want to go and you don't want to try to get everything right to compete for a championship. I think it shows that he doesn't have a commitment to winning. You don't see Westbrook doing that.
No,
Chris Paul wouldn't do that. And we've seen James Harden is best friends with Russell Westbrook. Yet he wanted Russell Westbrook out after the season. He preferred John Wall over Russell Westbrook. And there was a report that Russell Westbrook he challenged James Harden earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's the
character. So that's something that it's just something that you have to take into account, that James Harden, it just doesn't seem like he's committed to winning. You look at the top superstars in the league. Giannis wouldn't do what he did. LeBron definitely wouldn't do what he did. KD wouldn't do what he did.
Steph a family man.
Steph wouldn't do what he did. Just go down a list of the top 10 superstars in the league. Dame,
nope.
They wouldn't do what James Harden did. They wouldn't do that. So that's why I think it shows a lack of a commitment to winning and to trying to get over the hump, which is what's missing in his career to this point.
And it's funny that you say that, because LeBron is actually like best friends with Drake and stuff like that, and Dame is best friends with like Lil Wayne and stuff. And you would think they would go out, but they don't. They're in the gym working because they want to win. LeBron just came off a championship. He still wants to win. And I think with James Harden, you got to look at it. Westbrook just got traded. He's in the gym working. You see, he's working, trying to get better, trying to improve. Chris Paul, he's in the gym with the young guys, trying to get better, trying to improve. And you're just out here with little baby. Mind you, little baby's gonna party all month. You can wait. Like you can wait. Like you win ball him a car full of honey buns. Like, I don't know what type of gift that is, but you gotta just, if you're gonna do something like that, you can't even hide that, because you're James Harden. People are gonna record that and people are gonna put you on the media. But you gotta be better. You gotta be better. You gotta, if you want to win, you have to show the commitment to want to win. You know, you have to want it. Giannis is talking about he wants to win. You see his commitment. He's in the gym. He wants to win. You have to want to win. And I don't think James Harden wants to win as bad as these other superstars in the league. I think he just wants to be known as the best player who's never won a ring. I think he's okay with being the best player who's never won. Because right now, I think we can all agree he's probably the best player who's never won a ring.
Karl Malone is there.
Okay, yeah, debatable, but I would go Harden. But all right, debatable, yeah. Karl Malone, John Stockton, but Harden. So like you got
Malone's second all time in points though.
Yeah, okay. Like James Harden put up 36 in the season, but I mean, yeah, like we can go back and forth with him and Karl Malone.
I don't know if Harden's okay with it, but I think that
I don't want to say he's okay.
He doesn't want to be. It's weird because he doesn't want to be labeled that. He wants a championship, but he's not willing to make the sacrifices in order to do so. That's what I think is kind of
he
weird
wants to
about
win a
him.
championship his way, and if it's not his way, he's okay with not winning. And I think Miami would be a great place to change his mindset, because I think not only would Jimmy Butler challenge him, I think he's going to make him a better player. And I know that's weird to say because James Harden's the better player, but it's intangibles. And I think Jimmy Butler can put that in him.
I think James Harden can be the best player on the team, but he's not a leader.
Yeah.
They have whatever team he's on, there has to be a leader. And I think two years ago, that was Chris Paul. If he goes to Miami, that's Jimmy Butler. So he needs somebody like that to try to get him into the right track and actually, try to win a championship.
And
him on the East with Bam and Butler, I think
scary.
That's a championship team.
No, it is. I would put them solely at number one.
Even though there's a bunch of Heat fans that don't even want to trade Tyler Herro for him.
They're delusional. They think he's going to be Michael Jordan. I don't get it, but whatever. I mean, I do say Westbrook was challenging James Harden. I felt like James Harden didn't respect him enough. I feel like with Jimmy Butler just doing what he did, I feel like he will be more respected to hear Jimmy Butler and let him be challenged. Because now he will not only be challenged by Jimmy Butler, he's going to get challenged by Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. So if you get challenged from top to bottom, you have to listen at some point.
Next superstar we're going to talk about, or star, you should say, is Kyrie. He's had his trouble in run-ins. But not with anything on the outside. He's had it with the media. So he put out a statement, and this is just the ending of the statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But Kyrie Irving said, "My goal this season is to let my work on and off the court speak for itself. Life hit differently this year, and it requires me to move differently. So this is the beginning of that change." He left this statement really open-ended. What people got from this statement is that he doesn't want to talk to the media. I know today, just before we started recording the show, he got fined $25,000 from the league for not, appearing at these media appearances. And just what are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving not speaking to the media?
I think Kyrie, his mindset is everything I say, people flip it and try to make me look like the bad guy. So I guess his response is, I'm not going to talk to the media. But I feel like that's a coward move, because this is a part of your job. This is what you like. This is one of the requirements of your job. Like, you can't just tell them that you're not going to do something at your job. And I feel like if you want people to interpret what you say the way you want to, then say it right. I feel like some of the things he says, he means it, but because they don't interpret it, I think Kyrie's mind is a lot different than regular people on earth. It's a very strange mind. And I feel like when he says something, he means it, but he just doesn't say it the way he processes it. So when we interpret it, it's like Kyrie's all confused. But I still think he needs to talk to the media, because there's going to be a lot of questions around that team. And for fans, this is something that we need. We want to hear the players talk. So I think this is just a coward move, in my opinion.
I know people have blown this up. I don't think it's as serious as people have tried to make it out to be, because I've seen the training camp media sessions. I watch all of the Knicks ones when Tom Thibodeau talks, or Emmanuel Quickly or Dennis Smith. I watch those, and to be honest, most of them are really dull. There's no context. All they do is ask pretty silly questions.
Yeah.
I get that it's their job to do it, but they mostly ask silly questions. Like, I was watching the Zion one earlier today, and they asked Zion if he thinks he's going to work well with Steven Adams. Like, they ask questions like that. So I understand why. I think the sessions are pretty meaningless at this point in time, but at the same time, it is Kyrie's job to show up and do it. That being said, I think that players should get some leeway. If they're not feeling well, if they don't, they don't have to show up. But for Kyrie to pretty much kind of just try to not show up at all, I mean, there are people that interpreted this differently. I know Nick Freer of the USA Today and Scott Thompson of SNY, they said they've insisted that Kyrie's comments doesn't insist that he's going to do a media blackout. He's going to hold out on the media. They just think he's going to do it for now for the training camp sessions. But then again, he's not specific with what he wants to do. And at the end of the day, talking to the media for NBA players is like us clocking into work.
Yeah.
Like it's part of your job. It's part of it. It's contractual. So like Stephen A was talking about, and he was 100%
he was
right,
going crazy,
that you should be fine every time you don't talk to the media, because you can't just do whatever you want to do. You know, you're getting paid so much money to not only play basketball, but to do these other things that require you to do your job. And when we talk about the media and the NBA, the only reason the NBA is as big as it is because of the promotion that the media offers as well.
Right.
You know, the only reason we talk about basketball 24/7 is because everybody's always talking about basketball 24/7. If nobody's able to talk about it, if these athletes just go and play, we're not really gonna, make a whole scene. It's not gonna be the drama that it really is. So I don't know. I think Kyrie looks bad in this because he's just kind of been contradicting himself everywhere he's went. When he left LeBron, when he first left LeBron, he said he wanted to be the man. Then he goes to Boston. Everybody knows there was a bad ending. He threw Brad Stevens under the bus a lot of times in his time in Boston. And even Marcus Smart has talked about Kyrie Irving's mood swings. And he's talked about how you didn't know what mood he was going to show up each and every day.
Right.
Nets officials have said that was a concern. So there are things with Kyrie that, he's done wrong, which is why we look at him a bit differently right now.
I do agree. That's basically like if we go to work, like me and you go into work and we're on patrol relief and we don't like do our scans, that would be considered something that we're supposed to do and we don't do it. It's like, this is something this is a part of your job now. This is your life. You have to, if you don't want to do this, then don't play basketball anymore. It's that simple. Like, you signed the contract, you have to do it. I think, he doesn't have to do it all the time. I definitely think an after game interview is needed. Like, those are needed. You have to do a post game. I think those are essential, but I think training camp, okay, that makes sense. Like you said, he could hold off on that, but during the season to say, he has to, his comments, every time he speaks, he's not specific. He just says a pretty bland, blunt comment and it just goes into silence again. And it's weird. He has to stop doing stuff like that because it's confusing the media and it's making him look bad. But then he gets mad at us because we interpret it the way he says it.
The problem is every single time the media is on Kyrie Irving, he basically says that it's a clickbait society and he, bashes the media, which there's a lot of clickbait. But when it comes to him, it's not really like that. It's what he says.
Yeah.
He talked when he was on a podcast with KD and he talked about the last second shot and playing with another player that can hit those shots. Everybody came to the conclusion that it was LeBron. Kyrie said it wasn't about LeBron.
So who was it about?
Exactly. But then
Tristan Thompson?
But then you look, and just a couple of days ago, LeBron's on a podcast with RJ Jefferson and with Richard Jefferson, my bad.
Chain and Fry.
Yeah, but Richard Jefferson. And LeBron even talked about how he thought the comments were about him and he felt hurt by the comments. So Kyrie says it wasn't about LeBron, but even LeBron thinks it was about him.
Because who are you talking about? Kevin Love? Like,
exactly. So even though I think if this is kind of a clickbait society, you are not taking accountability for what you're saying. You are not taking accountability for your actions. And I think that's the first thing you have to do. And it just shows. That's why I don't think that the Nets are going to work, because I think you have more Kyrie than KD. I think
KD is kind of the same, but
KD is more laid back and chill. He's straight up. He's straightforward. Kyrie's more in his own world on trying to figure out his third eye, trying to, meditate to get chakras. Like, he's that type of guy, very spiritual.
Yeah.
Like spiritual to a point where it's detrimental.
He's like the Kanye of the NBA.
Kanye?
Yeah, it's literally what he's like. It's crazy.
I don't know. I think Kanye is a bit like...
No, Kanye is obviously over the top, but Kyrie's on his way. He be wilding, man.
So we're going to talk about LeBron now. And on the Richard Jefferson podcast that he was on, I forgot the name of it, but what he basically said is that he won the two hardest championships in NBA history, and he doesn't care what nobody says. He won the 2 hardest championships in NBA history. Do you believe that he did?
That's such a it's such a crazy. Oh my God. Okay, I want to say this. He in 2016. Yeah, he can say he won the hardest championship, but to say he won the hardest championship last year, I can't agree with that because it wasn't the hardest championship last year. I feel like when you put everybody was in the same setting, so everybody had the same. It wasn't like a regular season where people had to deal with traveling or heckling fans or like home court advantage, or you had like everybody was in the same area. You guys got the same treatment. You guys got what Dame was telling us. Well, like great treatment. Like the court was right there, training was right there. Like you didn't have to be all sore after games. Like everybody got a well-rested move. So you got everybody at their best. I feel like when you're in a season, like a regular season, and when you get guys coming in and they're tired, I feel like that's more harder overcoming that. Like when the LeBron and them came back from 3-1, I feel like that was harder because you went. Not only did you go down 3-1, you have the win 4 straight, 2 in Golden State, and I think in 2016 we can all agree that was the hardest place to play in the playoffs. Golden State, Oracle Arena. That like it was a crazy arena. You had to go win 2 straight against an MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year that year.
No, yeah, I think that was the hardest championship in history.
Yeah, I think that right there, that's number one. That was all that culmination. That was the hardest. But I think last year, I can't call last year one of his hardest championship. But 2016, definitely, yes.
What's a harder championship than last year's though? Because if you're gonna tell me it wasn't, I want to know what was.
I would say Dirk's championship was harder against Miami Heat. I would say 1998 Michael Jordan's championship was a lot harder. I would say, if I had to pick another one, I would say San Antonio's 2014, was it? No, I'm lying. I would say Miami, LeBron's 2013 ring was a lot harder than that one last year. What else? I think those would probably be the ones. I can't call last year's the hardest because it's not like you play. Okay, if we're gonna do what's the hardest, you have to look at the competition. You played the Miami Heat. No offense to the Miami Heat, they're a good team. You played the Miami Heat. Goran Dragic played what one or two games. Bam,
they played other teams too.
Did he say hardest run or he's talking about just the championship?
I mean, the hardest championship is like taking everything into account. I think it definitely was the hardest championship. Maybe the 2016 one was definitely. I think it was harder because that was the greatest team assembled in NBA history.
Oh, we talk about runs. Dirk run was better.
Hold up. That wasn't a harder championship to win than this championship. And this is why.
Yeah,
when you're in the bubble, LeBron even said it when he was talking to Richard Jefferson. He said, people that weren't in the bubble won't understand. So I know you don't understand. You weren't in the bubble, man. I know you don't understand. But the reality is that when you're in the bubble environment like that for months, he didn't see his kids for 2.5 months. Didn't see you think it matters. I think it matters. What? It definitely does matter.
His kids?
Yeah, his family,
Bro,
his
come
kids.
on.
It matters. You're going through a national pandemic, a global pandemic. Social issues in the United States of America going on right now. We know how crazy of a time it was a couple months ago. They were even deciding whether or not to start the bubble. And then you look at, you're isolated from the world. You're isolated from everybody.
Basketball. They've been through it before. 2.5 months.
Yeah, for a weekend, not 2.5 months.
They were playing 2.5 months. They were playing in an open, in an empty gym, bro.
When we talk about hardest championships, I want to know from the experts what they think.
Okay.
So your opinion is cool and all, but like I respect the opinions of Giannis more, of Eric Spoelstra.
Okay.
And Giannis said this is the toughest championship you could ever win. Austin Rivers said the same thing. I remember I sent you that tweet when he said
you can't use him though.
Eric Spoelstra said
that's
most worthy of all world championships. He said this before anybody won. He said most worthy of all world championships.
When did he say when he got in the finals?
No, when they were in the bubble, before he got in the finals. Mike Malone co-signed that statement. Doc Rivers, Brad Stevens. These are all guys that said this is going to be the toughest championship. And this is going to be the most respected championship of all time. So when it comes to players and coaches inside the bubble, they all feel consensus. it's a consensus that they feel like this is the hardest championship to win.
Obviously, the teams that are in that possibly have a chance to win it are gonna say this is the hardest championship, because if they do win it, then that can go into their favor. You're talking about they were isolated at Disney World. With LeBron already spends millions on his body. He was fine. Bro, let me explain something to you. What's worse? And I want you to know what's a more dangerous environment. I want you to answer this truthfully. Don't lie about it. No.
Answer
let me ask you a question. Game 5 in Los Angeles, Dirk versus Kobe, or Game 5 in a bubble, LeBron versus Nikola Jokic. What's a harder game?
You mean the year that they got?
We're talking about
they swept the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna use.
They swept the Lakers that year.
I'm gonna use 2011 specifically.
They swept the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna use two. Okay, so pardon me. Game 4. Like Dirk played Kobe. He played Cade and Westbrook. And I don't remember who he played in the first round. I know he played Kobe, Cade and Westbrook.
They played the Lakers.
So he played Kobe. He played Cade. So who did he play in the second round?
I can search it up right now, but I'm just saying they swept the Lakers. That wasn't a tough matchup.
How wasn't a tough match if they weren't favored to win it and then they just came out and played better? How is that tough?
What do you mean?
So
they were favored to win.
Dirk was not favored to win. Kobe
against the Lakers.
They were a 6th seed, bro.
They swept them.
They weren't supposed to, though, is my point.
They swept them. They swept them.
That wasn't supposed to, though, is my point.
Before the playoffs, what was everybody saying about LeBron supporting cast?
Right.
No depth, no 3-point shooting. People were even picking the Blazers to make it a tough matchup. They beat them in 5. Then they beat the Rockets in 5. Then they beat the Nuggets in 5. The same Nuggets team that beat the Clippers team that you thought was going to go to the NBA championship.
They beat them in an empty gym.
That does not matter.
That doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't.
Arena packed with thousands and thousands of fans.
Of your fans.
Heckling.
What do you mean?
Home court. Wait.
Lakers are going to get guaranteed 4 home games if they go to Game 7 because they're favorites.
And so,
they're the top seed.
Wait.
So they're going to have. So they're also going to have 4 games where the fans are with them.
Just like the other team is also going to get home court advantage. It's
wait. So you're saying basically it's neutral. It cancels out.
No, I'm saying
yes, it does.
No, I'm saying fans matter. I'm saying yes, you're right. Living situation
neutral.
does matter, but traveling also matters. So you're not looking at the situation as they're all in the same spot. Traveling plays a toll on you. The fact that you have to leave a post game, go straight instead of going to ice your body. You have to go get ready for a plane to go travel to another arena. That matters too. Like stuff like that matters. Then you have to get there late. You have to get some sleep. You have to practice. That matters. They literally had to leave the court, go walk to their rooms, and they can be ready. That plays a factor. The same way how he's saying his family and stuff. The living was easier. Everything was right.
I don't think the living was easier.
Everything was right there. And
it's not because they're not living. They're not living with anybody in their family. In the playoffs, they are.
All right. Bro, no,
it does. It does matter. It does matter.
You're saying they're living with their family. They're literally on the road in a crib that
not all the time because they have 4 home games.
Yeah, but it's 2-2-1-1-1. They're not there 4 times in a row. You do know that, right?
No, of course they're not there 4 times in a row, but they're there. They're at home though.
Okay,
they're at home,
but then they're on the road.
You're literally trapped inside of Disney World. Like you're isolated inside
Disney World. It's Disney World. It's really not that bad.
Disney World.
It's not that bad, bro. It's Disney World. Like everything was handed to them on a silver platter. Like you're trying to downplay.
Wait. So when they're traveling to different arenas, everything's not handed to them on a silver platter either.
Not like Disney World was.
Yes, it was. Yes, they
are. How would you know?
What do you mean? Because
the players
when they're traveling, they go to 5-star hotels on the road.
They're literally
everything's handed to them. They're NBA players. Hold on.
Now let me say.
They're NBA players. They get handed everything anywhere they go, regardless.
There's literally been talks in the NBA about shortening the season because the travel is too much. What do you mean? Like
there was also. Do you remember that? When the Bucks held out from playing the game and everybody in the room, including the Lakers and Clippers, decided it'd be best to just cancel the season. Why do you think that is? It's because they wanted to get out the bubble.
No, because of COVID.
That's not why they wanted to cancel it. If you know, it was because of the unarmed black man that died. That's why the Bucks even held. So
it wasn't even. You just said it wasn't because of the bubble. Then you just said it was because of the unarmed black guy dying. Which one?
No, it's both. They obviously don't want to be in that situation,
bro.
the reason why they wanted to get out the bubble because they felt like they could do more stuff for social injustice outside of the bubble than in it.
That had nothing.
Yes, but it's also with the bubble because you're isolated from the world.
No, you literally just no. They wanted to leave because they wanted to do more in the world for social injustice. That had nothing to do with the fact that they're stuck in the bubble because of whatever reason.
Yes, it does. It does have.
You just said they want.
It does play a factor.
You just said they wanted.
How are you going, bro? Okay, how are you going to say that? How are you going to say it when?
That's what you just said. I'm telling you what you said.
How are you going to say that when even LeBron said? I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Richard Jefferson interview? It sounds like you didn't, because he even said that the bubble was tough circumstances. Every single coach has said it. Every player said it. They said it took a Paul. You was even making excuses for Paul George's performance because of the bubble.
I'm sure the bubble situation was difficult. I'm not saying that it's not difficult. I never said it wasn't a difficult situation. But to say that you were a part of the two hardest championships, you're just literally trying to boast your way. The 2020 championship wasn't one of the hardest championships. It wasn't. It wasn't, because everything is of everything.
Wait, so you're saying LeBron's trying to boast his legacy by saying that?
No, I'm saying he's trying to boast his championships up. You know how when you win a championship and it goes down in history, right? And
I don't think so. I think he means that, and every player and coach agrees. I just read you the statements. They agree that it was one of the hardest championships.
And I understand the guys who are playing in the bubble are going to agree with him. That I get that part. They're playing in the bubble. They're trying to win a championship. So of course it's gonna look like they're trying to boast. They're gonna boast the same championship that they're trying to winning. But I'm saying that to say that's the hardest championship because of that situation, but not look at every other situation. Like if you're gonna say that, everything plays into factor. Competition.
This whole year for everybody, including these players and us as human beings that even live in this country, this has been a really hard, tough year. And for them to be
every year is tough.
This year is tougher than any year that you've lived in prior 20 years, and a lot of people lived.
Okay.
This year
we're talking about the bubble though.
Yes, but they've dealt with everything that we've dealt for, maybe not on the same level, but in terms of dealing with a pandemic and social injustice and all these issues and
social injustice has been around for years.
No, but not like the protests that have been happening this year. If you want to, we could argue about that a different day. But what I'm saying is that he did win one of the toughest championships in NBA history, not the second. I think the Golden State one is cool. I think this one. I think he did win the two toughest championships in NBA history. Yes, he did.
I don't think it's.
And you think he's just trying to boast his legacy because you love Michael Jordan, but in reality, that's a fact. Every coach and player has agreed with that statement.
Every coach and player that played in a name me a coach outside of the bubble that watched it and said this is the toughest. You can't name me one. The people who you can't tell me if you can't tell me
so that you're telling me I can't use people that are in it to explain.
Like bro, people who are trying to win that's like saying, bro, people in a lockout season, they all go to the playoffs and they talk about this is the hardest championship because they're in the playoffs. You can't sit there and use the same.
Who's ever said that?
I'm just saying. I'm just using an example.
No, you can't use an example that's never been said.
I can use an example.
No, you're using something that you think would have happened, but
I'm saying
you don't have a real example.
I'm saying you're using guys who played in a bubble, who are playing in the same bubble, who are trying to win a championship. If Boston would have won that championship, on God, they would have said, yeah, this was definitely the hardest championship ever. No, it's not. It's not the hard. It's a tough championship.
Or they would have said it because they already felt that way about it. It's not just because if they would have won, they would have said it, because people that didn't win are saying it. So what are you really saying? You're giving me examples that haven't happened, just what you think would have happened. You're guessing. It's not going off of fact.
There is no real fact in the argument. It's a debate.
No, there is fact. There's fact that people like Giannis, superstar players, said this is the toughest championship to win. And coaches have co-signed those statements.
That's their opinion. You're talking about people. Okay, so why? Okay, so let me ask you a question.
And even reporters like I said, the flaw in your argument is that you're saying I can't use people that were in the bubble to talk about how it was a hard championship to win.
No. What I'm saying,
when people that were in the bubble would know most.
You were just about to use a reporter, but you just said you were just about to use a reporter.
No, yeah, because like Taylor Rooks has said the environment was not cool. Like
so let me ask you a question. And when you talk about the hardest championships ever, what plays into factor? Competition, environment. This is all correct, right?
When it comes to the toughest championship, that does play a factor.
No, but it also, what plays a factor?
Yes, but it's also
what else?
Competition and your situation.
Situation, okay.
And I think their situation, being isolated from the world, was an extremely hard situation to go through.
I feel like okay, that part that makes sense. That part,
of course, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
block because NBA players block noise when they get on the court. They block, everything's blocked. Strictly basketball. In the bubble arena, you mean to tell me, like, okay, the social injustice, the pandemic, yes, that's correct. That has been a tough year for everybody. But you mean to tell me in that situation, in a bubble situation, that playing on that court in that environment with like fans on a screen was tougher than playing in an arena with 30,000 fans on the road? Answer that. Just answer that.
I'll answer that by saying that. Didn't you just say that they block out noise anyway?
Yes, they block out the noise outside, but they can't block out fans, bro.
But you said they block out the noise already.
I'm talking about stuff like that.
So what you're saying is that because there are no fans, players play better, right? That's what you're basically saying.
No, what I'm saying is it's a different environment.
No, okay. But what you're saying, because of no fans, then what? Because of no fans, it's easier.
It's a different environment.
No, you're saying because there's no fans, it's easier. That's what you're saying, basically.
Bro, Jamal Murray literally came out and said it's like AAU.
But you're saying
it's easier to play
because there's no fans, it's easier, right?
Yeah.
So explain Paul George's performance.
He played like shit, bro.
Explain other athletes' performance. Not everybody played good in the bubble. So that means that statement does not hold true.
How does it not hold true?
Because it doesn't mean it's easier.
Wait. Because Paul George played like trash, it makes like Paul George played like trash. Jamal Murray played like a star.
Jamal Murray's played like a star in the playoffs before.
Wait, no, I'm just saying Jamal Murray played like a star. Paul George played like trash, right? LeBron played like a star. AD played like a star. Pascal Siakam played like trash. What does that? It's still the crowd is still a different environment. You can't tell.
Regardless,
you didn't even answer my question.
Regardless,
you can't tell me if you can't tell me playing. First of all, because you can't tell me playing a team with no fans who are known in the season for having the best home court advantage in the season is the same as playing them in a bubble arena where you can hear the basketball dribbling on the floor. You can't tell me that's the same thing.
It's still neutral because both teams have home.
Wait, stop talking. How is it neutral if one team is on the road with 30,000 fans violating them? How is that the same as...
Because they're still going to be at home.
How is that the same as two teams playing a neutral site for, say, for example, two teams go 7 games.
So two teams are playing at a neutral site the entire time.
It's not... No. Two teams playing... No, because this sounds so stupid. Two teams playing 7 games, a 7-game series in a neutral site is the same as two teams playing 7 games, and one team has 4 games at home, and another team has 3 games at home. How is that neutral?
I can't even take you seriously.
How is that neutral?
Just because you scream doesn't mean
How is that neutral? How is that neutral?
Let me explain to you right now. How is that neutral?
Go ahead.
Regardless, it was going to be neutral because the bubble, all 7 games, if they go to 7, is neutral, right? On the road, if the Lakers were this was a regular season and the Lakers played on the road, even if they were in that 7th game, they would have had home court advantage. So if anything, if they weren't in a bubble, the Lakers would have had an advantage. Even if they weren't playing in the bubble.
That proves my point that it's not neutral because the Lakers have an advantage. What do you like that?
That means in the bubble they didn't have an advantage. They didn't have an advantage in the bubble.
The bubble was neutral. I agreed with you. I said with home.
When you play in the playoffs, it's neutral too. Because both teams have home court.
I'm gonna tell you why it's not neutral. The Miami Heat and the Philadelphia Sixers were the best home court teams in the East. They go to the bubble, it's neutral. Miami goes to the finals. If Miami and Philly played in a regular playoff environment where they have to go on the road, which they were the worst road teams in the East in terms of playoff teams. If they had to go on the road, it wouldn't have looked the same than when they played neutral in a bubble environment and everybody's on the same court and you can hear the ball dribbling on the floor. That's just not the same, bro. It's not the same. Like, what are you talking about? You keep talking about it's neutral. It's not the same. You literally just said the Lakers had an advantage. They have home court throughout the whole time. Yes, they have an advantage because they would have had 4 games to everybody's 3. They would have had the LA advantage. It's common sense.
But it didn't take them 4 games. It didn't take them 7 games. It didn't take them 7 games. I hope you know that your argument is baseless. Like, you really make no sense. But you're just screaming so you think you make sense. But you really don't make no sense. Because that means that even if you're not in the bubble, teams that have home court would have an advantage that said game. But every team outside of Game 7, they all have the same amount of games that they have home court. No game in that Lakers championship run went to 7 games, and
in a neutral.
That means if they face the Nuggets, that means that the Nuggets would have had fans in that arena when they're at home as well, just like the Lakers. But in the bubble, every single game is on an even playing field, so there's no competitive advantage for either team. Just like if you're playing, if the Lakers were, if this was a regular season, the Lakers would have a competitive advantage over other teams. But since it was in a bubble, they didn't. But you're not getting that argument. You're not getting that at all. Like I said, coaches and players have all said that this was the hardest championship to win, and this is going to be the most respected. You couldn't even name me championships that were harder. You named me Dallas's and 1998 Jordan, which was not hard. They were favored over Utah by a large margin.
Wait. You just said you said you said a championship.
Was that championship harder just because you watched the Last Dance documentary?
No, the championship was harder because Scottie Pippen had back problems and barely played, and Dennis Rodman was coming off the bench, and Michael Jordan led his team in points, rebounds, and assists because his team wasn't that good. That's why the championship.
I know you're a Jordan
That's
fan,
why the championship was harder. 2011 was harder because Dirk walked in as a 6th seed. As a 6th seed, he wasn't projected to go. They weren't projected to go to the finals.
Did you project the Lakers to go to the finals?
To the finals that year?
This year? You didn't.
No, I had the Clippers.
Okay. Then be quiet because everything
doesn't make sense.
Because you just said nobody projected the Mavericks to go. You didn't project the Lakers to go.
Okay, but the Lakers and the Clippers were the favorites. Clippers
were the favorites.
Wait, no, you're a liar. The Lakers were the favorites.
Clippers they were the Clippers before.
I bet you don't bet. I bet you don't bet.
The Clippers were the favorites.
I bet you don't bet. I bet you don't bet. Shut up. You don't know what you're
in the beginning of the season. Clippers weren't the favorites.
We're talking about when the playoffs started, bro. When the playoffs started, Dallas was a 6th seed. They weren't even a top 5 favorite. What are you talking about?
The Clippers were the favorites going into the playoffs this upcoming season, bro.
Bro, the Lakers were the favorites. Okay, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Even if the Clippers were the favorites, the Lakers were number 2. Dallas, as a 6th seed, wasn't even top 5, top 7. They swept the Lakers. They beat Cade and Westbrook, and they went on to the finals. And when LeBron was the heavy favorites, when they played Dallas, Dirk beat them. So I don't know how in that process that doesn't make that Dirk's ring was 2011 was definitely his top 3 hardest championships ever. He beat Kobe and the Lakers. He beat Katie and them. He was on the road. He was never a favorite in any series. He wasn't a favorite. He wasn't. Even when he went to play Miami, he wasn't a favorite. LeBron in Miami, they were the heavy favorites. The Lakers were the heavy favorites against Denver. The Lakers were the favorites against the Rockets. The Lakers, because you don't bet, so I don't think you know what you're talking about. The Lakers were the favorites against Portland. The Lakers were heavy favorites against Miami. If you're the favorite in every time you play, what do you like? Dirk, come on, bro. Like
the reason why your argument is
in the bubble.
The reason why your argument is baseless because you're just taking into consideration the competition that was played.
Competition matters.
Okay, but you're not taking into consideration any of the circumstances that they had to deal with while living in the bubble.
I said
because your whole argument is based off that.
We already established that. I said in terms of environment, yes, and the bubble was extremely hard. But that's why I asked you what comes into play when we're talking about the hardest one. You said competition, environment. Environment, yes, you got it.
But I think the environment,
competition,
the environment,
there's no way.
But the environment, but that's why when you talk about them winning a championship, you take everything into consideration.
Both environments.
This environment was totally different than anything any NBA player has ever experienced.
Absolutely.
This was a really difficult environment.
No, I completely agree with you on that in that sense. But now when you break it down into basketball, there is no way on planet Earth that this ring could have been harder than Dirk's ring in 2011. Strictly talking basketball environment, yes, but that plays like 70%. What?
That plays like 70% of that. No, the environment plays like 70% of why the championship was so difficult. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Especially for this championship in the bubble. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. So then on a regular season, what would the environment be?
Wait, what are you talking about?
If you're saying 70% this season plays a factor, 70% of the reason, right?
This upcoming season?
No, are you talking about in general or are you just talking about this upcoming season?
No. In the bubble specifically,
so you're talking about
the environment, that's how much it played in a role because it was a really difficult environment.
Bro, okay, I get that part, but how are you just gonna wash away all the like strict environment? Yes, I get that part. Environment, yeah, got it, yeah. But now cut dry. Talk about basketball, strictly basketball, putting the ball on the court.
But when it comes to
harder?
Competition, that's not the only thing you look at when talking about championships.
But that's the only thing you've been talking about.
And not only
you
that,
haven't spoke about anything.
And not
else
only that,
but
and not only that, and not only that.
You're talking about rich people being put in Disney World. Yes, I get the environment. Because they're rich people, they're not. Pandemic, just like us. I get it. It's probably harder for us than them, but I get it. But now you haven't said a basketball thing yet. Talk about the basketball aspect. Which ring was harder, Dirk's or LeBron's? You haven't said a thing about basketball. You keep talking about the pandemic. I get the pandemic. You keep talking about social
justice. I did say things about basketball.
What you say?
Earlier in the argument, I said.
What you say? What you say?
The Lakers, they had trouble with depth. They had trouble 3-point shooting, and everybody in the media was talking about how
a top 3 favorite to go.
Okay,
to
but
win
everybody knows on the way. Everybody in the media on the way there was talking about all their problems throughout the.
But they were still a top 3 favorite to win the chip. Was Dirk a favorite? Answer that.
The thing is
was Dirk a favorite?
This is the problem with you right now. The problem with you is that you're making the same dumb argument where you're not listening to anything that is being said. You're just blocking out everything that's being said and just listening to yourself.
Oh, I get what you're. I've been saying. I get what you're saying.
No,
for
you
20
don't
minutes.
get what I've been saying.
But you haven't
keep
spoke
saying
about basketball one time. Talk about it.
Not only
was Denver really hard. Keep it 100. Was Denver really a challenging team for LA?
They beat the Clippers.
I didn't ask you that. Was Denver a challenging team?
I think Denver was.
Was Houston?
If it wasn't,
answer this one. Was Houston really a challenging team for LA? Or are you just saying that because they have James Harden?
Houston was too. They just game planned for James Harden exceptionally. Even Jared Dudley was talking about how the team game plan for the Houston Rockets all night. They had them up all night game planning for them. But those are the things you don't want to talk about. You're just making an argument based off of opinions. I'm making my argument based off fact. I've told you what the players and coaches have said, and I'll give you another fact too. This championship, not only was it tough because of the circumstances, but also the pressure on LeBron and the Lakers to win the championship for Kobe. That played a huge role.
What the hell?
You don't think that played a role?
So wait. Oh my.
Yo, you don't think that played a role?
Come on, bro.
Are you serious?
Bro. No, come on. Like you're gonna come on.
Are you serious?
The pressure on LA to win because of Kobe's death?
Yes, there was huge pressure on them. They wore KB throughout every single the black Mamba jerseys that were undefeated in.
You really gonna use that as come on.
Bro, not only was this championship going to go down in history as a storyline because of the bubble, but it's going to be remembered forever because not only did the Lakers win a championship in a bubble, but they won a championship the year that Kobe died, and this championship was for him. That's like the perfect storybook ending.
What?
Yes, it is, bro. You don't think it plays a role?
You really know, like
you're out of touch. You're out of touch.
Come on, bro.
You're out of touch.
You're gonna try to use Kobe's death to say they won this championship for Kobe? Really, bro?
They did win it,
bro. That's the dumbest shit. Any person whose favorite player was Kobe can literally say that. Oh, damn, I want to win this championship for Kobe. Or Kyrie would have played. I want to win this championship for Kobe. LeBron and AD, they won that championship because they wanted to win the championship, bro. It was not for Kobe, bro.
Of course,
they're gonna say that. Really obviously, you're gonna say that because you're gonna use that to your argument, bro. They didn't.
No,
come on,
wait,
bro.
What are you talking about?
Don't try to use Kobe's death as a means. This is why they won the championship.
I didn't try to use Kobe's death.
No, for one, they have not. In any media since they won that championship, Kobe hasn't been spoken about one time. So what are you talking about?
For one,
don't try to use Kobe's death.
I didn't talk
about it one time.
I didn't. What? Hold up.
They haven't talked about Kobe's death since they won the chip. Hold
up. For one, I'm not using Kobe's death. That's one. Like I said, just because you scream doesn't mean you're right, because you really sound dumb right now. What's the difference between Dame, Kyrie, and whoever's favorite player was Kobe, between LeBron and AD and their run? What's the difference, Riv? Because Kobe played for the franchise of the Los Angeles Lakers every single year of his career. That's why. Rob Pelinka, Kobe's best friend. When they won a championship, they cried for Kobe. So how is it not for Kobe? He definitely had a big part in the championship.
Have they talked about Kobe since then?
Just because they talked about it doesn't mean that it's not true.
I didn't hear it one interview. I didn't hear them say, "Yo, this is for Kobe."
You want me to fetch it for you? I could do it after the podcast and make you look really stupid. So if you want me, I could do it.
Yeah, do after the podcast.
Okay.
This is long.
Okay,
long
yeah.
segment.
Because this whole argument, you've been going off opinion. I've been going off of fact. And that's just the bottom line of it.
The question is, do you think this was the hardest championship? It's an opinion question. That was the question you asked me.
Yeah, but in your argument, you brought no fact into your argument.
First of all, you asked me what championship do I think is the hardest? I think that Dallas was the hardest. I think that was the hardest championship. They played better competition. The environment in a home court the environment in an arena with fans, I feel like it's still harder than the bubble. No, it wasn't a harder environment outside of the bubble, but in terms of basketball, I think that was a harder environment. But outside the bubble, yeah, because of the pandemic and all that good stuff.
All right, so what you're basically saying that you took one half of the equation totally out of the mix when coming to your conclusion.
No, I said it plays a factor, but I feel like basketball still overcomes that because at the end of the day, they're playing basketball. It's always going to come down to them playing basketball. You could talk about social injustice all day. You could talk about the pandemic, but at the end of the day, they dubbed all of that to still play basketball. So talk about the basketball aspect.
Not everybody. Avery Bradley sat out for the Lakers.
Oh, my God. Avery Bradley.
He was huge for them in the season.
Did any big-time player sit out?
Kyrie
sat out?
Bradley Beal did, too.
Bradley Beal sat out? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What about LeBron? The big main advocate.
Okay, so now because I gave you names, you want to just go on to LeBron.
No,
obviously LeBron did it.
Okay.
All right, but that doesn't make that point not true.
It doesn't.
You asked me, I gave you players.
No, you didn't give me players. You gave me Avery Bradley, weak player, but the two players you gave me after that, solid players. I give you those two. Those are solid. But the fact that the environment was cool, but at the end of the day, you walk in there, you put the headphones in, you suit up, you put the jersey on. It's time to play ball. And when you play ball, basketball to basketball, Dirk's ring was harder. That's just how I feel.
Before we end the segment, something I want to answer that really bothered me a little bit. Just because they're rich and they're playing basketball does not mean they're not human. And I feel like by making that comment about they're rich people just playing basketball, whatever, I think it kind of dehumanized them. I think even if they're rich, they're still human, bro. And they still go through those feelings of isolation by being in a bubble.
They do, but I feel
being
like
in that. I don't think money just takes that away, bro.
It helps though a lot. It's a lot harder for us than them. That's all I said. That's all I said.
I think financially it's a lot harder for regular,
that's all I was talking about.
People.
Financially,
but they go through a lot of stuff too when it comes to Paul George even talking about depression with comments.
I get that. All I said was it was a lot harder. So
I'm just saying, just because they're rich doesn't mean they're not human, bro. They still go through the same emotions as us.
No, all I said was money just makes it a little easier.
And there's a way bigger spotlight on each and every one of those guys than any of us.
Still, all I said was
all right, but that's all I want to say. So the next segment we're going to talk about is Russell Westbrook and the Wizards. Will Westbrook lead the Wizards to the playoffs? And I said this on Twitter. My hot take this year is that the Atlanta Hawks won't make the playoffs. I think even with the free agency like Danilo Gallinari, they got all those players. I think even with that free agency, they're not going to make the playoffs. Their defense really concerns me. The Wizards just got Westbrook coming off a year averaging 27, 8, and 7 on the best efficiency of his career. I think Bradley Beal is a budding star player in the NBA. And when you look back to Russell Westbrook in OKC 2016, 6th in the West, 47 wins. Their lineup was Oladipo, Roberson, Adams, and Sabonis. Rookie year, Domantas Sabonis, who wasn't very good. There is no spacing on this team whatsoever. And now Westbrook is going to a team with Davis Bertans, Troy Brown Jr., Bradley Beal, Thomas Bryant, who shoots 40%. I think he's going to have a ton of spacing on his team. And I wouldn't rule out him averaging another triple-double. I think he can, and I think the Wizards are going to make the playoffs this season with Russell Westbrook.
Hold on, I got to comment. I got to bring the voice down. Excuse me, y'all. I'm actually really excited to see the Washington Wizards play. I like the spacing that they provided. Well, not provided, it was already there, but I like the spacing that Westbrook is, and I like the fact that Bradley Beal is a very versatile scorer. I like that he can sit there, like he kind of gives me the Paul George mode in the sense that he can be a spot up shooter, he can come off the screen, he can turn into a JJ Redick if you do need him to, but he can also go get his own. So I like that he's a pretty good complementary scorer to Westbrook, or he can be that number one guy if you need him to be. Now for Westbrook, I really feel like this is going to be a big thing for him, and I think with all those shooters out there, putting out a lineup with Beal, Bertan, Bryant, Westbrook and Denny, defense is going to be questionable, but in terms of shooting the ball, that's a great lineup. And even if you put Rui out there, the pick and roll is going to be special.
He's a slasher.
Yeah, I like this team a lot. And I think if they can get it together, that bench is going to have a couple guys on there too. But I like this team going forward. And I think Washington can definitely push up in the race. I think they can be better in Indiana, honestly. So I think they can.
I think so too. I
think they can push up in the 6-5 ranking. And, with Philly, with all their problems in the regular season, we don't know how they're going to be. Brooklyn's probably going to deal with some injuries. They can get a good seed, and they can make some noise in the playoffs. Now, come playoff time, I don't know what they're going to do, but I definitely see them as making the playoffs easily.
I mean, I think Russell Westbrook is easily a top 10 player in the Eastern Conference now that he's there. I said a couple of days ago top 5, but then I went down a list and I said no way he's top 5. But he's definitely a top 10 player in the East. And when you look at the other teams that they're going to be competing with, because I think there are 6 locks.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Nets, the Sixers, and the Heat.
Say those again?
6 locks to be in the East. The Raptors, the Celtics, the Heat, the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned the Bucks. And the Nets.
Are we sure to say Indiana's a lock?
I didn't say Indiana.
Okay, because I don't know if they're a lock.
But I think there's such a well-rounded team that they'll end up making it.
Yeah.
But so that means to me it's between Charlotte, Orlando, and Atlanta.
I think with the missing Isaac for the season is going to really hurt Orlando. I don't think they get in.
They were 11th in defense last year. That's probably going to drop.
Easily.
Charlotte was 25th in defense. Atlanta was 28th in defense.
That's probably
and Washington was 29th in defense.
I don't see Westbrook bringing that up to probably like.
I think Westbrook could bring it up just because last year they started Ish Smith.
I think he could bring it up 1-2 spots. I think Atlanta's defense is going to go up. Washington's defense is going to. I think Orlando's defense is going to drop tremendously because Isaac does so much on the defensive end, and I think they're probably going to come out. But I will say, I think Washington easily, in terms of seeding, they can be a top 6 seed because teams take a team. They gave us the leeway to take off games this year. So Katie and Kyrie are going to take off a lot of games this year. Giannis is probably going to take off some games. Probably not. He's probably going to play every game.
When you talk, when the Eastern Conference, the Magic and the Nets both made the playoffs without a winning record. And I think with this team, with the amount of spacing on this team, Westbrook can have them at least at a winning record. And if you can have a winning record in the East, you'll win. I'm still very hesitant to pick the Hawks because I think their defense, even with Capella, is going to be pretty bad. I really do. I think Trae Young is just a huge liability, and he's going to get hunted down on a consistent basis. So I don't know. I just think I believe in Westbrook, and I still think he can play at an all-star level.
I think looking at the teams, looking at Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Washington, the only guy who's led a bad team is Westbrook. So I have to put my money on the guy who's done it before. Even he played well last year. He just had the knee injury, that messed him up a little bit. But I just don't see a situation where Westbrook misses the playoffs, especially with Bradley Beal. And they were in the playoffs. Well, they were in the hunt last year. So what were they, 28 and 33 and 40 something last year?
I don't know, but they were in the bubble in the play.
Yeah, they were like 5 games out of 500. I think Westbrook puts them up 10, 15 more games.
And Westbrook's also said that he's going to make what he's trying to do is make life easier for Bradley Beal, and he's trying to maximize the player that he is. And look, Westbrook last year with Harden played with the first leading scorer in the NBA and James Harden. Now this year he's going to play with the second in Bradley Beal. And I think for Westbrook, it's much easier to play with Bradley Beal because Bradley Beal is nowhere near as ball dominant as James Harden. And Bradley Beal is really good at coming off the screens. He's a good spot up shooter. He's going to be active on that side of the ball when he's off the ball. So I think Westbrook gets to run his show. He gets to inflate his assist numbers up, and Bradley Beal's going to get his shots too.
And what people fail to get is Paul George's MVP season. And Paul George, even the season before that, he shot 40% from the 3-point line. And that was him coming off screens and down pins. And that was Westbrook being the guy. Even during Paul George's MVP season, he ran the show a little bit, but he also did a lot of that coming off down screens. And Westbrook was just being a passer. And I can see that this year with more of the spacing they have, Westbrook just being a passer. And because when he played with Paul George, you saw a lot of what we could see in Westbrook. The stopping going, the change of direction, the pace. Like, he had a little IQ then with knowing when to turn it up and when not to. So I see that in Washington with all the shooters, him knowing when not to and when to turn it up and all that. So I like this fit, and I think they're going to be a sleeper team in the East.
I think so too. And I think Westbrook brings a sense of intensity to their team and leadership. And I think that's what a team like that needs. And I think it's good that they traded John Wall because John Wall is not a sure thing. You don't know how he's going to come back. So to trade John Wall for an MVP caliber player and Westbrook at his best, I think it was a steal for them, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to talk about the next topic. Which offense are you most excited to watch this upcoming season? I think I know your answer.
You got to go first because I have two answers. It was kind of like I was thinking about it.
The offense I'm most excited to watch is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs or not. And I don't say that because I think the Timberwolves are bad. I say that because I think the West is just such a stacked conference.
Right.
And I know I had a Timberwolves in the comment section when we made that Anthony Edwards video talking about how we're sleeping on the Timberwolves. Well, I'll keep sleeping because I don't think they're making the playoffs. But I think they're going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch. Last year, they had the 11th ranked offense. Now they're bringing in a point guard who's going to run the offense in Rubio and the number 1 pick and Anthony Edwards. They were 20th in assists, so Rubio's going to bring that up. And when I just think about the offense, I think of Malik Beasley, D'Lo, Cat, Jared Culver. I think he's going to make a jump this year. Anthony Edwards. And when I watch Hernan Gomez, was pretty good. He averaged, I think, 12 or 14 points per game in the 14 games that he played with them. When I look at their team, I saw D'Lo last year and Malik Beasley play a couple games together. They had great chemistry. Cat, D'Lo, and Beasley all averaged 20-plus points in their time in Minnesota last season. So they're going to score a lot of points. They're going to be one of those teams that score 120 points a game and still lose because the other team's going to score 125. But I just think this offense is going to be really dynamic. It's going to be exciting to watch. And I hope that there are some national TV games for them because I actually want to watch them. I know I'm going to have League Pass anyway, but I want to watch them without trying to, watch it through like a third party app.
I was thinking about it when we were talking about the top stuff, and I actually ended up with 3 answers. So level with me with this one. My first pick is obviously the Warriors. I'm excited to see Steph Curry play. I'm excited to see him get him back. And I'm excited to see what that offense is going to be like. Steph Curry, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins. I'm excited to see what Steph is going to show us and if he's going to put that chip on his shoulder and take this team to the playoffs. And I really want to see it because I hate the criticism that he can't do it. And I think he can. He has the ability to. So I'm definitely excited to see that offense. Number 2 is obviously Brooklyn. I'm excited to get KD back. I'm excited to see KD and Kyrie. That team was a high-scoring team without him. So with getting KD back, I want to see what his game is going to look like. I want to see what Kyrie is going to look like with KD. I think those 2 guys are top 3, top 4 best one-on-one scorers in the league with them 2 and James Harden. So I want to see how this is going to translate. And then when they put out that Kyrie, Dinwiddie, LeVert, KD lineup, that's 80 points right there. So I'm just interested to see how that's going to go. And then my third team is definitely Milwaukee. And I'm excited to see what Drew Holiday does for Giannis. Eric Bledsoe, he kind of played a lot of off ball, and they kind of had George Hill doing most of it. Now you get Drew Holiday, who's a better playmaker than Eric Bledsoe. He can hit a shot. He can take the mid-range. He can go out there. He can go to the basket. He can throw lobs. So I'm excited to see what Giannis is going to do with him and to see if he's in – because, Giannis comes back every year with something new. So I'm definitely excited to see what he's going to come back with this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm excited to watch Brooklyn. I'm excited to watch Golden State, especially with Oubre and Wiggins. I think they're going to take a step, especially Oubre. I really believe in Oubre's game.
I like him.
And the Bucks, how are they going to look with Drew Holiday? It's going to look. I think they'll look better. I think Giannis will have a better shot coming into this year as well. The only reason I didn't pick them was because I felt like that's like a given. I know I want to watch KD and Kyrie. I know I want to watch Steph. I know I want to watch Giannis.
Well, I couldn't tell you Atlanta again because I'll just be,
But the thing about Minnesota, I think they're a team that is not going to be very good, but is going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
And even outside of the players, you probably never heard this guy, but like Jake Layman, I think he's
from Maryland.
Yeah, he's a pretty good offensive player. Okogie, he's a defender. We know that. Nas Reed, I want to see what he does. Rookie year last year. Timberwolves fans love Nas Reed.
Yeah.
They love Nas Reed. And fun fact, we've known about Nas Reed since we were in middle school, elementary school.
Jersey.
Yeah, he played for Team Mazada with Javon Quinterly. They had one of the stacked rosters.
And Roselle. Jersey, man.
Yeah, so we've known about Nas Reed for a while. It was really surprising that he even went undrafted because he's a player who could He's a stretch big. He fits this modern NBA.
I'll give you a team I'm excited for that I don't think I make the playoffs. I think Charlotte is going to be extremely excited with the 3-point guard lineup. And I heard Lamelo Ball is still growing. So that's going to be interesting. I think he's at 6'8" right now. So that's like him, Devontae Graham. You know, Devontae, he can spot up. He can be a shooter just like Bradley Beal. Terry Rozier is going to hold the ball a lot. Not hold the ball. He's going to play ball maker a lot. Then you got Gordon Hayward, who can also play make. He's going to be a shooter. He can score. PJ Washington's a shooter. So Malik Monk, he started to get into his own towards the end of the season. So I'm really excited to see how Charlotte's going to – they've realized they have the young team. They have the young guys, Devontae Graham, Malik Monk, LaMelo. So now I'm excited to see how they're going to put them all on the court. Miles Bridges was also really good down the stretch. So I'm excited to see Charlotte in terms of how the young guys are going to fit. I know they're not going to be a playoff team, but they're going to have like last year. They're going to have a lot of exciting games early on. So I like that team. That's going to be a good team.
And talking about LaMelo, we're about to talk about him right now. LaMelo Ball has looked exceptional in training camp. Yes, I don't know if you've seen the footage, but he's been throwing behind the back passes to Grant Riller in training camp. And all of his teammates have been raving about his passing ability. Even his coach, James Borrego, he talked about how he's a great playmaker. Devontae Graham has talked about it. Terry Rozier has talked about it. One of the Martin twins has talked about it. I don't know which one because I'm not an expert at telling twins apart.
Cody's the better one.
All right, I don't know who it was. It was just their face. So I don't know how to differentiate.
They wear different gear, so you have to figure out who's who in the gear.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but even in the footage where he was shooting around with Gordon Hayward, he looked like he was keeping up, even though his jump shot. People criticize his jump shot a lot. I think LaMelo's getting slept on this season. I think he probably should have won number one, to be honest. I think he should have won number one.
To Minnesota?
I believe in his potential a lot. And I think it was a steal that Charlotte got him. I don't think Charlotte was expecting to get him. I thought they were expecting to get James Wiseman.
Yeah, I definitely thought Wiseman was going to fall to 3.
LaMelo, and it's great for them because not only does LaMelo bring star potential to their team, but he's box office already. Everybody's going to tune in and watch LaMelo. Their ticket sales are going to, well, not tickets because they don't even have, we're not going to have fans. Maybe like the virtual tickets are going to go up. Jersey sales are going up. It's just bringing an excitement to Charlotte that, honestly, since I've watched the team, has never really been there.
It's crazy because like I feel like when people go overseas, it's like they come back and they're a whole different guy. Like their mindset is whole above the world. Their IQ is ahead of the game. And I feel like that's what the overseas guys teach you. They don't teach you the athletic stuff. They teach you about IQ, what's on the court, skills. And I think LaMelo he's coming in. He's already 5-10 steps ahead of the rookies that he's with right now, his class. So I feel like he's going to come in. He's going to impact the game. And it may not be in points. He may be a little inefficient. He was a little inefficient in Australia. But I feel like in terms of assist, rebounding, knowing right passes, relay passes, all that good stuff, knowing where to put the ball, setting up one guy to another, I feel like he's going to be there in terms of like knowing the game, processing the game. So I'm interested to see that. Going number one, though, you think he should have went number one?
I would have picked the number one. That's just my opinion. I think he was the best prospect.
Yeah, I feel like Minnesota went fit instead of prospect and potential. I feel like they went fit. I think Golden State did that too. But yeah, I probably would have put in terms of potential. He's already taller than Anthony Edwards, so and he's a 1. LaMelo, he's going to be a very intriguing guy to watch.
They can play LaMelo at the 1 to 3 because Hayward can slide to the 4, stretch 4. Mm-hmm. I think the best thing about the Hornets and their team right now for LaMelo is that LaMelo is not put in a position like Killian Hayes to run the offense early because there's so many playmakers on the Hornets. You have Terry, you have Devontae Graham, even Gordon Hayward to an extent. So you got guys that are going to set up LaMelo for easy baskets and kind of show him the way.
Yep.
I know Derrick Rose is doing that to an extent with Killian Hayes, but not as much mentorship is going on there that's going on in Charlotte with LaMelo. And this is just another question. Do you think that he's going to live up to the hype? Do you see an all-star appearance in his career? Do you ever think he'll be a top 10 player? Just what's your opinion on that?
I just think like the point guard position is just so stacked. And like with the guy we're going to talk about later, he's coming in here soon. And even Jalen Suggs is on his way. Mikey Williams is going to be on his way soon. LeBron James. It's going to be like the next cream of like we're going to see a lot of guards in this league that are going to be dominant. But I think with LaMelo, I'm always going to bank on the big guy. So with LaMelo's size, and I think he can end up being better than the Ben Simmons because he can shoot. And that was the problem with Ben Simmons. He's not confident in his shot. So I think LaMelo can definitely be a superstar in the league. I think he could definitely be a superstar in the league. I see it. You
said it didn't sound that convinced.
Nah, I didn't at first. Right? I see it. I see the tools. Let me say this. He has the tools and the potential to be a superstar. Can he do it in Charlotte? It's going to be up to the front office to get him there and get him the pieces to make it look like he's a superstar. But he has all the talent in the world to be a superstar.
Yeah, I agree. I think he does have all the tools, and he's in a good position with Charlotte. Even though they overpaid for Gordon Hayward, he was still a good acquisition for them. They weren't going to get another free agent anyway, so it was good that they got him. It was better than Montrezl Harrell, to be honest.
Oh, easily.
So I think LaMelo will live up to the hype. I think Rookie of the Year is between him and Wiseman to me. I think, and Toppin is there too, but I think it's between LaMelo, Wiseman, and Toppin. I see that.
I think, and you know what's crazy? I like a rookie who can build their own name, and I think Charlotte is a place where he can literally solidify it as his city and make it his. Like the same with what Dirk did with Dallas, or what Cade and Westbrook did with Seattle turned OKC. I think he can really make that his, like what LeBron did with Cleveland. Not like that, but he can make Charlotte his and turn it into his dynasty. He can do what he needs to do. He has the freedom to be who he is, and I like that from him. And I think with his father now being kind of out the way, it's going to give him room to be that player.
So next player we're going to talk about is a rookie too.
Oh, shout out to Leandro. I think he's going to make the team.
Yeah, I think so too. So talking about the Pistons, you're talking about LiAngelo, Killian Hayes, the first round pick point guard. There was a clip that surfaced of him and Derrick Rose talking, and it looked like Derrick Rose was mentoring Killian Hayes. Derrick Rose, they asked him about it in an interview, and he said that he feels like it's his job to mentor Killian Hayes, and his job is to just try to get him ready, play aggressive with him, because that's how players in the league are going to play against him, because he's a player overseas. And I think Killian Hayes has a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. And Derrick Rose has said this: Killian Hayes is a smaller guard, and Derrick Rose has seen point guards in the league right now that they're 6'5" now. And he's even said that he thinks in the next couple of years they're going to be 6'8". And you see that. I mean, we have Ben Simmons, point guard, LaMelo, Lonzo's still there, tall point guard. Cade Cunningham is coming in. So the league is turning. There are going to be tall point guards in the league now. But I still think Killian Hayes has a shot to be a really good player in the league. He's projected to start already off the bat.
So D Rose is coming off the bench.
Yeah, so he's projected. He's going to start. They said he's going to start. And I like his game. He's smooth in the pick and roll. He has a nice jump shot. He can get to the basket. He's a pretty good passer. I don't know if he's going to be ready right now, but I think he definitely has a potential to be one of the better prospects in this draft.
I want to say, shout out to Derrick Rose. Everybody know that's one of my favorite players ever. His growth as a mentor and a player after all those injuries has definitely been really impressive. He's now pro-life. He's all about the spirit and all that good stuff. You should see his Instagram. It's hilarious. He makes one 2-page post talk about how good life is and all that. But I think this is great because you got a guy coming in, a rookie. He's, like I said before, he has the IQ. He played overseas. I think he won a chip over there, or they went to the championship. But he has that IQ. He's a step ahead of the game in terms of skill. Athletically, you get a guy who was still is probably one of the most athletic guards in the league, but he was the top 2 most athletic guards ever. You get that guy coming in, an MVP, a guy who's going to mentor you. He's seen the rise and the fall of the league. He's been through injuries and all that. So you get a guy who can mentor you on how to just learn how to be an NBA player, learn how to live the life, learn how to become better in your craft. And like you said, there's big guards coming in. And I think Killian, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"?
He might be 6'2", 6'3".
And if D Rose is telling you a little guard, that should be troubling because he's about 6'3". So yeah. So if he's telling you you're little, and he's not that, he's big, but he's not big. So I think this is gonna
they say Killian Hayes is 6'5". So 176.
Okay,
he's 176.
Okay, he's frail then. Okay, so yeah. I think this is gonna be great for Killian Hayes though, because you get a guy who won the MVP. He was, before the injuries, he was gonna be the face of the league. He was next up. He was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. So you get a guy who's gonna teach you the ropes, gonna teach you how to play. And this is a guy who still can attack the basket like one of the best of them. So I think this is going to help Killian Hayes' game, because I think one of his weaknesses was he's not a strong finisher. So Derrick Rose is definitely going to improve his game a lot. And I think for Detroit, this is a good step moving forward.
That's crazy, though, because Killian on film looks like he's about 6'2".
Really?
Yeah, 6'2",
probably because
6'3".
his frame. He's probably small.
Yeah, he's really skinny. That's probably why, but he's 6'5", so he's one of those taller guards. And I think he didn't shoot too well overseas, but I think his jump shot looks good. It looks like he's going to be a pretty good shooter in the NBA. And just the Pistons draft overall, I really like that. I like Sadiq Bey out of Villanova. He's a good 3-and-D
I like
wing defender.
The young guy they have last year, Sekou
Doumbouya.
Yeah, him. He's a great defender. I like him.
Yeah, he brings a lot of energy. They also they signed Jeremy Grant. So like this, their projected starting lineup. Their projected starting lineup.
Big team.
Yeah, I think it's Blake Griffin, Mason Plumlee, Killian Hayes, Jeremy Grant, and DeLon Wright. They got DeLon Wright. I think he'll be a pretty good mentor too, because he's a bigger guard.
Yeah.
He's not like a star player, but he's a pretty solid player.
He was one of those Raptors teams that make deep runs. He's a good player. It's going to be good. I don't know what they're going to do with all these centers and power forwards, but I definitely I felt like I gave their draft a B+. I like their draft.
They got Isaiah Stewart too out of Washington.
Yeah, he's more of a stretch 5 type of guy. So I like their team in terms of the projection. They realize that they're going to be bad. They're going to tank. They're probably going to let go of Blake Griffin soon. They're probably going to trade. These bigs are probably just guys to get in the roster. But I like the Jeremy Grant acquisition. I think Killian Hayes is going to be really good there. I think he can sneaky win Rookie of the Year given the proper opportunities. There's not a lot of spacing on the court, but there's a lot of pick and roll opportunity. That was his best asset, was his pick and roll game. So I think this is going to be
Blake
great
Griffin had to work perfectly.
Yeah, pick and pop. Jeremy Grant, that's going to work too. Mason Plumlee is also not that bad. So I think this is going to be perfect for him, honestly.
It just all depends on how efficient most of these point guards are. I mean, I know point guards, it takes them a while to get settled in. It really just depends on how efficient they're going to be. Because if they're not efficient, they're not going to win the award. We even see RJ Barrett. Just because of his efficiency, he didn't even make the rookie team. So we'll see. I think Killian has a lot of potential. Do I think he'll be like a first team all rookie this season? I'm not entirely sure. But I think he definitely has a lot of potential.
I think this class we need patience with this class. I think we're going to need a lot of patience and time with this class because it's going to take a while to evaluate them because this is the first class out out COVID, and this is the first class that's going to witness the new NBA. So it's going to be a little different for them. So we need patience with them. That's all.
Yeah, I would have loved if Killian went to the Knicks. That's who I wanted, honestly. But I'm fine with Obi, to be honest. But okay. Now we're gonna talk about young players. We're gonna talk about a young team now. Which young team do you think is going to have the most success over the next 5 years? And the Mavericks are not one of those. They're actually one of the oldest teams in the league.
But I can't use them though?
You can't because they're not a young team. These are the young teams. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the top 6 young teams. So one of these teams. The Timberwolves are the youngest. The Hornets, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, Denver, and the Pelicans. Which team do you think is going to have the most success?
Well, I'm going to start by saying Timberwolves. I would have picked them if they had their pick next year. But since it's top 3 protected, I don't know if they're going to be top 3 bad. And if they don't get that pick, then I wouldn't pick them. I think I'm going to have to go with the Pelicans. And I'm going to go with the Pelicans because out of all 6 of those teams, Zion is, if healthy, is going to be the best out of any player out of all those teams. And I think with that being said, Brandon Ingram is also there. And I wasn't too high on him last year, but I see the potential that everybody sees. I still think he has room to grow. I still think he has time to improve, but I do like him as a scorer for them because until Zion becomes that. But I think with those 2 there, Jackson Hayes, I feel like he can be a good centerpiece when the time is right. Steven Adams is going to bulk him up, get him better. I think they're probably going to not make the playoffs this year, so another pick is going to come in. They get one of those highlighted guys we talked about, Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs or whatever, Brandon Boston or Terrence Clark, whatever of them, and then they keep improving. I feel like Bledsoe is going to probably be gone eventually. Lonzo Ball can still be a good point guard. He's still young. He still has time. So with that being said, Nickel Alexander-Walker still has time. I'm going to go with the Pelicans because I feel like Zion, just the potential of Zion is so intriguing that you can't pick any other team.
I'm going with the Pelicans, but my second pick would have been the Grizzlies. Yeah. So I'm either going Ja or Zion is one of those. I think they had a pretty good draft. Desmond Bane, I like him. Jaren Jackson, I think he could be a star. Ja Moran, we know what he is. But I'm going to go with the Pelicans too. Just looking at their team and the players on it. Zion is 20. Lonzo's 23. BG is 23. Jackson Hayes is 20.
What the hell is BG?
Brandon, BG. Oh, my fault. Brandon Ingram, BI. So Kira Lewis is 19. Alexander Walker's 22. Josh Hart is 25. They have a young team, and now Steven Adams is there. I mean, they got better from last season. Mm-hmm. Now your starting lineup is probably, I'll check the projected starting lineup on ESPN.
Bledsoe's going to start?
They have Bledsoe and Lonzo starting. I wouldn't do that. I'd put Lonzo and JJ. That would be my starting
JJ
lineup.
is still on the team.
I put Lonzo, JJ, Ingram, Zion, and Adams. Steven Adams, I think he could probably teach Jackson Hayes a couple things. Jackson Hayes could be a good center. I think he could be a good pick and roll guy, catch lobs, play good defense. That's what I think he could be. So you have JJ, Bledsoe, Adams for that mentorship, and they have 14 first-round picks in the next 7 drafts. So they basically have 2 first-round picks per draft. I know some of the drafts they have like 3 first-round picks. So they have picks to potentially make a deal and trade for like a second superstar player. And they have a lot of young players to even make a deal like that too. I still like Lonzo. Do I think he'll be like an all-star? I don't see it no more. But if you got Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson going forward, I think
he can have that Draymond Green impact. And what I mean by that is like he's their best defender. He's their best playmaker. And with Bledsoe coming in, he can teach him some things. So I think that's going to – Lonzo doesn't need to be an all-star for them to be a championship team. He just needs to be really good and really efficient at what he does. And if he worked on his jump shot, it's gotten better. So he can hit at an efficient clip now. But I think with the 14 draft picks, they're going to have cap eventually. I know they just signed Steven Adams. I guess that's for a trade eventually. So they just re-signed him. And with all them young players, I didn't even know Josh Hart was still that young. I thought he was like 27. But now that you told me Josh Hart was 25, that's another guy. So this team, and like my second pick was going to be either the Grizzlies or Atlanta. It was going to be really on Ja Morant or Trae Young's projection. And I like Ja Morant's projection just because of his effort on defense and the fact that he's, in terms of like head-to-head, he's going to go at you and play defense on you. And that's a guy you need to run your franchise, especially in Memphis where they're known for their grit and grind era and they're known for their tough grittiness. Ja Morant fits perfectly for Memphis. And I feel like with Atlanta, Trae Young, he's the highlight reel, but it's still too many question marks. With Ja Morant, I don't hear many question marks about him. You know what you're going to get. You know who he is. And I feel like he's the next guy to be great if Zion isn't healthy. So that would probably be my second pick too, though.
When I look at the Pelicans roster, I see a bunch of older players that are very similar to the younger players they have. Like Eric Bledsoe, I think he's literally like,
Lonzo Ball.
Not only that, but I think Kira Lewis Jr. is like kind of Eric Bledsoe-esque. Yeah, really fast, can get downhill.
Yeah, he's extremely fast.
And then you have Jackson Hayes, Steven Adams mentoring him. And JJ has talked, he's talked the world about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He thinks he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And I've even seen Walker play. I think he's pretty good. I don't know. He didn't look too good in the NBA games, but he was pretty good in the summer league.
No, he's good. He needs time. He's Shaw's cousin.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, I think that the Pelicans definitely have the brightest future in the next 5 years. I mean, you talked about the Timberwolves. I don't see what they're going to be. The Hornets, if LaMelo's like a superstar, then yeah. The Knicks are the Knicks. I think the second team would be Denver, but I think they're getting into that phase where all their cap is going. They just lost Jeremy Grant. They have to sign Jokic. They just
re-signed Monte Morris.
Yeah, they're going to sign Jokic to a long-term extension. They're going to
sign Michael Porter Jr. probably.
Exactly. So their cap is going to probably be gone. They don't have many assets, so that's why I wouldn't pick them. I think the Pelicans are definitely going to be one of the best teams in the next 5 years that are young.
I agree.
So now our last topic of the episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Cade Cunningham because he's been lighting the world on fire in the college world. Right now, he has OSU at 5-0. He's averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 50% from the field and 47% from 3 with an 86% free throw percentage. I mean, I think everybody can see it. He is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, no doubt about it.
Man, I've been raving about this guy since his junior year of high school. He is literally the best. It was him and Imani Bates was the 2 best prospects in high school. Imani Bates is crazy. But Cade Cunningham, and I don't get. I guess people keep thinking Jalen Green's going to be number one, and I like Jalen Green, but I don't know what he looks like because he's in the G League. They haven't played yet, and when I seen him before, he was skinny. He had a lot of explosiveness, but you could see him kind of getting pushed around a lot because of his frame. With Cade Cunningham, you see him in college. He's bulked up. He has a patience to the game that's not like that's Jason Kidd like his patience is so advanced, and he's got his jump shot, as you said. His jump shot, that was his weakness. He knows when to go. He knows when to go off. He knows when to take over a game. This guy is the next superstar coming up. And the tanking rule, they didn't fix that. Anybody can get the number one pick at this point in the lottery. But I think if you get the number one pick, there should be no debating. There should be no question. He is the number one pick in next year's draft, the next 3 drafts, if he was in any of them, honestly.
I mean, yeah, Cade Cunningham is sick. He's a 6'8" point guard. He's 220 pounds. And last year, OSU went 18-14, and the year before they went 12-20. He has them at 5-0 already, and I hope that the Knicks land this guy because the Knicks have to land a guy like. Look, if we get Jalen Suggs and Cunningham, we need a point guard. But you were right. When I watch him, he plays with such a patience. He has a great feel for the game. And I've seen some pro comparisons. They say Grant Hill.
They say Luka too.
They say Ben Simmons, like a smaller Ben Simmons. But I honestly feel like he's kind of like a Ben Simmons with a jump shot. I don't think he's as great as a defender, and I don't think he's as natural as a passer. But I think like when it comes to just the point guard position, I see him like being similar to Ben Simmons. But I also, as a scorer, I see him having like kind of a Jason Tatum kind of like game in his scoring, and like a Tobias Harris. Like
he's like slow but fast.
Yeah, like he's just really poised. He knows how to pick his spots. And what I like about him is that he's not the best shooter, but he takes shots that are there. Yeah. And he knows when to take shots. He's not just going to chuck shots. He can get to the basket anytime he wants. And I mean, damn, when you talk about a 6'8" point guard, like you just can't get better than that. That's probably like the next great point guard.
When you think about 6'8", you think of versatility. And he's not Ben Simmons like defense, but he can play defense. So being 6'8", you can probably guard 1 through 4. He's bulking up. He's already at 220. He was at like 205 going into college. So he's bulked up. His handles are there. His jump shot is getting there. So he's already coming out of college ahead of Ben Simmons in terms of the jump shot. And the thing about it, all these point guards are coming out looking like Ben Simmons, but they're already ahead of Ben Simmons in the jump shot form. You look at LaMelo, has a better jump shot. Cade Cunningham, he has a better jump shot. So it's like you would want the guy with the jump shot, the less defense. So I think this guy is going to be a guy that teams are going to be trading. Like I'm talking about, if you get the number one pick, teams are going to be trading up to try to get him because he's really going to change the aspect of the league. He's going to come in and not dominate, but he's going to come in and contribute from day one. And if the Knicks do get him, shout out to you guys. I mean, I hope we get him, but
I mean, I got him in 2K when I did it.
Me too. League. I always get him in 2K.
Yeah, I got Cade because in my 2K league, I got Cade, I got RJ.
You keep RJ. He asked for too much money.
I signed Duncan Robinson. Mm-hmm. I have Mitch. I still have Noel. I have Obi, of course. Oh, I traded for Buddy Hield. So my lineup is
that's
Buddy.
That's what he said on Twitter. Let's get Buddy.
Yeah, my lineup is but that's actually a trade the Knicks want to do.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they want to get Buddy for Randall and Ntilikina, but the Kings want to pick too.
That's a good.
Yeah,
I like.
So
that.
My lineup was Cade, Buddy, RJ, Obi, and Mitch.
And you know what's crazy? Like he plays in the Big 12. So when he plays like Kansas or like Texas, that's when I'm really gonna tune in because these 5 games, they're good 5 games, but I want to see what you do against the ranked teams, like teams that are like that has another freshman on their team that's gonna kind of show you who you really are. So it's gonna be interesting to see down the stretch when he gets in the conference play. What is he gonna do? But I'm all sold in on Cade Cunningham as the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I'm so too. And that's gonna be it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast. This was a long episode. It was a pretty heated debate. I can still see the fumes coming out of Riv's head right now.
Nah, it's for the show, man. I love it. Joel's still my guy after, man.
So this is gonna do it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast. Like always, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. We have a Patreon as well. It's called Pick a Side Podcast. And you guys, if you guys are watching the stream, please like and share so we can hopefully grow this thing. So I'm just going to ask you to press the red button when I say my piece. So thank you for watching and see you next time. So, okay, now we're about to take in some callers.
Somebody's definitely gonna call.
Yeah, I think so too. We're about to take in some callers, so I'm just gonna go and set the thing up.
Woo. What's up, Serge? Nah, Serge, it's just for the show, man. I don't really. Sewell, he has his opinion. It's okay. I admire it. Help me get better. You feel me? That's all. That reminds me back of the Twitter days.
So if you guys want to talk, if you guys want to call in, you guys can call into the show. We're gonna take a couple callers. Bro, this remote don't work. I'm trying to put on the Patriots and Rams game.
Serge, I hope we do, bro. At this point, they benched my guy, Wentz. Everybody know I love Wentz. They benched my guy, Jalen Hurts. So they've completely given up on the man. But I would definitely take Jamar Chase, bro. We need something. Alshon Jeffrey. If they're gonna bench everybody, bench Alshon, bench Jason Peters. They've been horrible too, So I hope we get one of those guys, man, because linebacker position, even though I do like Singleton, though, he's been good. But linebacker and Chase, those are my guys. I need them. Who's it from? Soul?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press.
Hello? Hello?
What's up, man?
Yeah, so Dante. What's good, my boy? What's up?
Good, what's good? How y'all doing?
Man, we just chilling, man. Regular podcast stuff, man.
That's good. You know what I called for, right?
What you call for, man?
I called the show a few weeks ago. We had a little discussion.
Oh yeah. What was I supposed to say again?
It's not time for that yet, but I just want to say, like, how do you feel that everything I was telling you is just unfolding out?
Nah, it's crazy. You was definitely spot on. You definitely won this one. This is a one up for you. You got this one. You spot on. He's talking about the Wentz and Hurts. He said Hurts was going to start.
I don't think that was crazy though. I thought that was like bound to happen.
I didn't think they was just going to throw him in the fray, as if the team isn't just bad in general. But yeah, now Dante, I apologize. You got the one up on this one. You was definitely right on this one.
Definitely, and the Eagles not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just apologize here and say you're right about that one too. We're gonna just do that early.
And the Giants being the best team in the division.
Yeah, you was right about that one too. Damn.
All right.
That was good. You was right.
Now, feelings on the Jets, because you wasn't there on the Monday show.
Feelings on the Jets.
Yeah.
Feelings as in what are you asking me specifically? How I feel about them?
Do you think you lost the game on purpose?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't watch the game, but I would hope you guys did lose the game on purpose, because I think getting Trevor Lawrence is the best bet for you guys right now. And I think that if you did lose the game on purpose, that's like quite funny.
Yeah, so you didn't see that last part?
Nah, I honestly didn't. What happened?
Oh my God.
What?
Joel can explain it better than me. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, man.
Yeah, I know you was tuned in.
Going.
I know you was tuned in on the little heated debate we had, man. Who you think won? Let me ask you that.
I was in the comment section. You definitely won. I don't know what Joel is talking about with this pandemic. That's
What you talking
not
about,
an
man?
argument. State the facts. Riv was stating facts. You didn't state any facts. You stated your opinion.
Riv stated opinions. I'll state the
Bring
facts.
some facts to the table,
Is
and then you
Giannis
might win the argument.
is Giannis's literal sentence not a fact?
Bro, you said the Lakers championship is the hardest championship in NBA history.
No, I said the second.
Because they were in a bubble.
I said the second. I said LeBron has won the 2 hardest championships in NBA.
No,
history.
2016, we both agreed it was easily the hardest championship ever.
Okay.
We just had a little disagreement on number 2.
Still not the second.
Yeah.
It's not even top 3, honestly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. You know, get off the call right now.
Yeah, we're not going to start this one. I'm proud of you guys, though, man. Keep going.
Thanks,
All right,
man. Appreciate
it, man. Have a good night.
No problem. You too.
So, all right, if you want to call, you guys could call in. We're going to take in a few callers. See, I'm reading the comments of this debate right now.
It's so funny.
Riv is so mad.
I came in late on the show, man. I used to be mad like that all the time, man. They talking about Joel, it's Mayweather versus Hatton.
To accept, press 1.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? This is Kyle Lowry?
Yeah,
What's up, dog?
I'm good. How you, man?
How you doing, bro? What's your question?
Well, I was your first segment about the top 100 players. I was really upset to see that Kyle Lowry was like in the
Oh, man.
30s and the 40s. I think he's like a top 25 player in the league. Yep.
Look,
We're
you know what I'm upset about? I'm upset about Kyle Lowry being ranked higher than Russell Westbrook. That's what I'm upset about.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Because Kyle Lowry's not better than Russell Westbrook.
No, I wouldn't say that, but he's up there though.
You don't think Russell Westbrook's better than Kyle Lowry?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. So that's all you're mad about, that Kyle Lowry wasn't higher?
No, and my boy, Mr. Bet on Yourself, was like in the 60s.
Who? OG Anunoby?
No, what's his name? Fred
Van
Vliet.
Vliet?
Yeah, he was like in the 60s or something.
Do you honestly believe your team should just be in the top 20, top 25?
No, I'm saying that he's like in the 40s or 50s, not in the 60s.
Oh, you think Fred V should be in the 40s?
Yeah.
That's not a bad take. I mean, looking at the players they put in front of him, I wouldn't disagree with you. I feel like Van Vliet was definitely underrated. He played really well this year. So yeah, you should be definitely upset about that.
Yeah, but this is like the worst list I've ever seen though. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even pay attention to the top 100 list anymore because I feel like they're always bad.
I look at it for clarity. It's always bad clarity.
Yeah, but the top 10, I agree that LeBron, he's first, but Anthony Davis, I don't think he's second.
Who's second?
I would say I would say KD. I think he's gonna come back strong this year, and then I would put Kawhi third, and then AD fourth, and then Giannis 5.
What the?
I still think that AD is I still think that he's second.
Nah, I don't think.
I think Steph Curry is the top 5 player on earth.
We'll see if he plays this year.
Just my opinion, man.
He never plays when they actually need him to play. They don't have Clay.
Oh God.
Yeah. And Rev, you better not say nothing bad about my Raptors, or I'm gonna come back hard on you, right?
I got you. We're gonna see. We're gonna hear a lot from you this season, man. Trust and believe.
Oh, you will. You will. Yeah.
All right, man. We appreciate you for your call, bro. As always a Raptors fan right here, die hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we appreciate you and have a good night, man. All right.
All right, you too, man.
All right, man. Peace out.
All right, see you.
Does my forehead look greasy on that screen?
I don't know.
Look at it, bro. Does, right?
I think it's just the light.
I look extremely yellow. Yo, Jack, call in, man. What's up, Jack? Call in, man.
Let's see who calls in. Let me see.
Did he really call in?
Nah.
Call in, bro.
To accept, press.
Hello?
Yeah, this is Leo.
Oh, what's up, Leo?
What's up,
How
Leo?
you doing?
Doing good. Y'all watching the Thursday night football game?
I'm watching it on YouTube TV right now. The Patriots are losing 17-0. I can't believe it.
Oh, I'm not surprised by the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots aren't that good offensively, so I could see it, but
That's a reason.
crazy.
That's a big reason. I don't know. You saw the pick six by the Rams.
It was 79 yards. Sheesh.
Man, that's crazy.
Yo, that's a big yo.
Anyway, my question was like, are you really sure about you can win with James Harden with a title?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think he can be the best. He can be the best player on a championship team, but he needs to have the right supporting cast around him. If he doesn't have the right supporting cast around him, they're not going to win. And I think that goes to show for every player. I mean, besides LeBron, you can't put a mediocre supporting cast around any other top 10 player and they can win a championship. Outside, LeBron's the only one that's proven it a little bit. But I think other players, they need that supporting cast. Kawhi needs it. AD does. Giannis does. They all need a good supporting cast to win a championship, and that's what Harden needs as well.
I would say, like Joel said, I feel like if he had that, like we said earlier, he had that Jimmy Butler type leader in him, and he was just needed to be the best player on the team, but he didn't need to be the leader. I definitely think James Harden can win a championship, but I'm always under the advocate. I always knew he was never going to win a championship in Houston. I told Joel that repeatedly, and I feel like if he doesn't get that leader in him, he will never win a championship in the NBA. So he has to figure out how to be a leader or team up with a guy with that mentality, like a Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Even if you had that, I want to say, even if you don't have a leadership, at least you have like a dog mentality. Sometimes you make it feel fearless for the other opponent.
Sometimes he does give me the vibe he's a little nonchalant with things. He's just like, all right, whatever. But he does he at times he does show the dog in him. At times, I feel like he needs to just be more consistent with it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I thought at first, because I live in Houston, but even I saw it all the time. Like, he don't show it much as used to. Even the time he teamed up with Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, I was like, that's the time I was like, you start curious. You've been curious every time, and you start curious about what he does to perform in the playoffs, and you don't show up much. And I think a lot of people didn't mention, but it's like every time he teamed with stars, like it's like short term. Like you only been Chris Paul with 2 years, Westbrook only 1 year, Dwight 3 years, but the most on the White Sox. Like it's not like, are you sure you would team up with another star? Because a lot of teams, that's the team you mentioned, like the Nets, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat, and the other team I forgot it. Oh, Philly. Really, but you're unsure how they're going to work out.
I think most players that team up with stars don't stay long. Even LeBron, he didn't stay long in Miami. With Cleveland, he didn't stay long, and they were winning. So if you're a team and you're not winning, then they move off of that star even quicker than usual.
Okay. And another thing is, I don't want to bring up your heated debate, but I was kind of, I get both of your side of your point, but I understood. I was kind of a little more lean towards the real.
Yeah.
But think of reality. I'm not saying like, oh, guaranteed, but think about the reality side. But when let's say you go to the court, I'm not saying like we're all Astro NBA players, but let's say like you're a normal human being playing the basketball court, and you see couple fans when you play basketball with a couple friends and you team up against them. Do you think it's more the same way if you play like, let's say, 100 folks than, let's say, 10 folks, people in the crowd?
I don't think it's the same, but I also think that players didn't have a peace of mind in the bubble because they were trapped inside of there for 2.5 months, especially LeBron. You know, it's different when you're going on the road, you're traveling to different cities, you're getting to try new restaurants, you're chilling on the outside, you're having fun. But when you're in the bubble and you're, just there in your hotel room the entire time, you're just going to the hotel room and then going to the gym, I think it takes a big toll on you.
Even then, I was like, you got to realize, LeBron keeps saying like he won the 2 hardest championship in NBA history. The second, I totally disagree. I thought Dallas was harder than that. I thought the Lakers' second title of that 3-peat was harder than that. I think a lot of people didn't mention that because they were struggling the whole regular season, but they got better in the playoffs. I thought like you mentioned the Chicago Bulls with the 98 title. I thought you thought, heck, I think a lot of people mentioned the Houston Rockets in the 95 playoffs run, and they won as a 6 seed title. I think it's like you prove your point every time. It's not always about to be the home court advantage, but you just also the competition and the environment. But you gotta say this, like you gotta perform it no matter what.
That is true.
You got to perform no matter what, but I think that environment of the bubble and everything that's going on this year has taken a toll on not only these players but on everybody. And I mean, just think about it. It's taking a toll on us so much that we were begging to have basketball back, and we were really upset when players didn't want to play. People forget that a lot of players didn't want to play. A lot of them were on the fence about playing. So I think we have to take that into consideration because I think the circumstances were very different this year.
But even if they didn't play, it was like you gotta realize we live in the same way as I'm not saying exactly like a normal person. I'm not saying every athlete is like a human being, but they similar to us. But you gotta realize it's the same way it was before COVID, like the title you just mentioned. The third title, this was like before pandemic. Everybody had their normal life. Same way as a human, everybody else who don't work for the NBA. It still felt the same way as the bubble. That is more difficult what you're doing now than as a human being.
I didn't quite get that. What did you say?
Oh, I'm saying is that you can't say like you just created like that title is harder than the title before because what happened in the pandemic. I was like, I think people overreact to how the players feel when they're in the bubble, but you gotta realize the humans and the outside world was like that also.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been tough on everybody. That's what I think. Like, even if, nobody's living normally right now, like this is a really weird year. Every NBA player, most of them and coach have said that this bubble is extremely hard. I mean, even though they're playing basketball, and to us it seems like fun because that's like a dream job for most people. Like this is their job at the end of the day. Like this is your job. It's like you being stuck at your job for 2.5 months.
I appreciate it. But either way, whoever wanted the debate. Good job. Good job for the podcast.
Thanks, man.
All right, we appreciate it, Leo.
All right, bye.
Bye. So we're about to take in one more caller. So whoever wants to call in and be that last caller, you can.
Oh man, sitting in these chairs hurt my knee.
I'm watching a game right now.
Who's winning?
Oh, this is Jack.
Yeah, Jack calling.
Jack.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hey, what's up, Jack?
What's up, Jack?
What's going on? When Riv asked, I knew I had to call in.
Yeah, you got to call in, man. If you're not here, you got to call in. You got to call in all the time.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that debate was crazy entertaining, and I feel bad for Joel, who has to edit it after this because that was like an hour long.
Yeah.
But personally, I personally sided with Joel. I don't know if I would say it's the second most difficult championship, but I agree with the points that Joel was making of, you got to look at it from an aspect of these guys are millionaires, so what they're going home to in a normal life in a normal season, like the way they're being treated in Disney is a step down from how they normally would be treated. Like LeBron's going home to his personal chef, personal trainer, his family, this, that, and the other thing, as opposed to in the bubble where he was just going home to a bag dinner and a Disney hotel room. So I think mentally, like it was a whole different ball game, and that was the whole point. It wasn't about the competition. So that was just the one thing that I wanted to say, siding with Joel. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up is about this James Harden thing. I know me and Joel argued about it, a couple episodes ago, and now it's coming back to light. I just wanted to say, talent-wise, 100 times out of 100, you trade James Harden for Kyrie.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question about it. My only problem with trading for James Harden, and it goes beyond like picks, whatever you're going to give up. I just don't know if James Harden is in the right mindset to win a championship. Because in my opinion, you either got to be an alpha or you got to be able to accept that number 2 role and be led. And I don't see him as either of those two things. He's clearly not a leader. And when he's played with leaders in Russell Westbrook, CP3, who, we've seen their impact with other teams, even now Russ going to Washington, and, Rui Hachimura said he's brought a whole different energy there. So, and he forced those guys out. So why are we so sure that James Harden can go to a place like Miami and go with Jimmy Butler and take that leadership? I just don't know if he can. I feel like he wants, he wants to win that championship, and he either wants to be the guy but doesn't want to put the work in or actually do what it takes to be the guy. So that's my concern with James Harden.
I just don't think Kyrie's anything. I don't think Kyrie is whatever you
was about to say.
I just don't think Kyrie's like, is he in the right mindset? He's battling with the media right now.
He's won a championship before.
You got to be here. You got to be here, Jack. You got to be here, man.
Granted, yeah, I know. I wish I could be there, and I can't wait to get back there. But, obviously Kyrie is not in the best situation right now, but I would rather him battling the media than James Harden going out to strip clubs with a little baby and, having to worry about his commitment to winning a championship. I know Kyrie's going to show up, be in the building, and although there's going to be some outside noise, I feel more confident with him, knowing that him and Kevin Durant made this decision, made this commitment to come here to Brooklyn together. And I feel like this group, as much as everybody's trying to talk about tearing them apart from the outside, I feel like they've gotten fairly close on the inside circle of that locker room. And I could be wrong, but only time will tell. But I just want to say thank you guys for holding it down. I can't wait to get back there.
Hold on, Jack. I have a question. I got a quick question for you. So what do you think is the second hardest championship? Because we all agreed it was 2016. Like that. But what do you think is the second hardest championship of all time?
Well, that depends. If you're speaking because I think that overall, environment-wise, talent-wise, whatever, 2016 was number one. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
Coming down from 3-1 against the best team ever, that's number one clearly. But then it depends on how you sort it out. I can understand the argument for 2020 just because, mentally, that's a whole different ball game. I could see people arguing that as number one just because it was such a different circumstance. I think talent-wise, you have to look at Dirk's run in 2011 just because of all the teams and talent they had to go through. I think you could look at some of Jordan's runs and some of the talent he had to go through. But at the end of the day, I think that him and that Chicago team in general was
head and shoulders above the rest of the league, the way it was constructed, plus having Phil Jackson. So, you could look at a bunch of different championships. Personally, if I had to base it off of talent, I would say 2011, the Mavericks was the second toughest, but I totally understand the argument for the 2020 championship being second.
Smart man.
But I just want to say thank you guys. I miss being there. I can't wait to get back there. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I can't wait to be back. Great job tonight. And we got to get more arguments like the second hardest championship.
Yeah, man. Stay safe, man. Be well.
All right,
Get better.
Same thing that
Thanks,
Rev
guys.
said.
Appreciate it.
All right, bro. Have a good night.
Be good, guys.
I think my nose is like really long.
So this is gonna do it for the end of our live stream. So everybody that watched is still watching. Thank you guys. We're gonna see you next time.
We appreciate you guys, man. I think my nose is really long. Like.